This week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you by Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and it never will be. I mean, maybe, but just don't tell my guest. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob, and we have an excellent show today. This week even. I don't know why I said today. I never say today. We are abandoning the 90s yet again. We will return to them. We're having some great chats, but this is an episode I've been excited for a while. So I guess I'll do my intro. I've written it down. I don't normally write intros, but I had to get it right because I'm very excited. I don't know if you can tell. So I've talked about friendship a lot recently, and I promise not to harp on about it forever, lest you all think I'm going through a midlife crisis. Maybe I am a little bit, but that's okay. But this week we're welcoming a new member of the Film Snob family, and she needs a proper intro. So every now and then, if you're lucky, you'll meet someone in life that makes perfect sense to you. A light bulb will go off in your head, and you'll get that aha moment, and everything will just click. It sounds corny, but like it just doesn't happen that often. So when you meet someone, you want to grab onto them and be like, please be my friend. And this person actually did say, James, I really did want to be your friend, which was one of the top 5 nicest things anyone ever said to me. And just so you guys know, do the math. I have a wife, I have a daughter, and I have 4 immediate family members. That was one of the top 5 things in my life ever said to me. So I don't know, pick up your game, everyone else. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but we just seem to be on the same page all the time, like we're multiversal doppelgangers or something. I don't know why exactly, but I'm always excited to speak with her, and I always leave every conversation wanting more, which I think is a good sign of a storyteller. Like if you're always anticipating that next conversation, they're probably pretty good at talking. I have some ideas. Maybe it's because she's whip smart and talks movies the way we do on the show. Maybe it's because she's naturally funny and very comfortable calling me out on the dumb things I say and do. Maybe it's because she collects physical media for the special features and takes all of this nonsense very, very seriously. That obviously means a lot to me. Or maybe it's because she kind of looks like a cross between Supergirl and the bride from Kill Bill. I'm not kidding. Like, if there's not a yellow tracksuit in her past or in her future, I'll be very, very disappointed. But the reason why I'm a big fan of today's guest isn't important. She's here because she's completely and utterly brilliant. She's not just my pal, she's my super friend. So please welcome for the first of what I hope is many, many appearances. It is the wonderful Samantha McHardy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I love that so much.
I told you, I write long intros.
Yeah. No, very, very nice. Very appreciative of yourself, and very, very happy to be here. Very honored. So I'm excited. Excited.
Well, not everyone, but lots of people I'm so honored and I appreciate it, but I'm just a dude talking about movies.
Yeah, but that's amazing. Who doesn't want to talk about movies? I mean, maybe a lot of people, but
no one
I love talking.
If they don't want to talk about movies, I don't want them on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, very excited to have you here. We've been friends for, I would say, about 6 months, give or take. Probably not quite 6 months. That's probably how long we've known each other.
Yeah.
And very early on, I wasn't planning. We've talked so much about friendship and stuff offline. I'm not going to go into all the dark and traumatic corners of it all. But we've talked about it. I remember the first time I met you, it was, I guess I was going to run a meeting or something. I'm trying not to go into too much of what work is, but pretty much I just went into a meeting with a bunch of people I hadn't met before, and I was like, hey guys, I'm going to be taking you through some stuff later, showing you a couple of things. But I like to do an icebreaker. So when we catch up in about an hour or so's time, just tell me your top 5 favorite films, which is hilarious because that's literally all I want to talk about is top 5 favorite films. And I came back and it was you and 2 other people. One of them was I'll do it in reverse order for dramatic effect. But the first person was like, oh, I don't really watch films, but I like rom-coms. So I was like, okay, cool. You gave it a go. And the next person kind of made up a couple of films. I was like, oh yeah, nice one. And then you were like, hang on, just give me a second. And you pull out a notepad from the side of your computer. You're like, I've written a list. I've written it down and I've written it down and I have questions. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yep. Yeah, well, when someone asks you to do something that you like, you do it.
You took the brief so seriously, and I was like, and again, I was just like, all right, this is someone to watch out for because she's on my radar now. She's into movies. She's taken this nonsense, as I said in the intro, so seriously. I want to get to know this person, and it's been a lovely 6 months, like getting to make a new friend. And I'll stop talking about making friends soon, but I don't know, like I was just excited.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was amazing because you also sort of turned to me and I thought, oh, is this too much to mention? In this new place that I'm, working at, is it too much? And then you were like, all right, let's hear it. I was so happy. I was so happy that I got to speak about it, and it was the best part of my day. And then ever since then, it was like, yeah, it was
climactic
yeah.
ending.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Like I was thinking, like I literally thought about the night I was watching Kill Bill a couple of nights ago. I was like, oh my god, I'm like, Samantha literally looks like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. Like I didn't pick up on it before.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a weird thing to say at work, so I'll save it for the podcast.
I've heard it before. I have only a couple of times, and I never really knew who she was, but I think I had to. I know. It's yeah. It's. I can't think of the word. I can't think of my words right now. But no, I think I googled her, and I was like, oh, I don't really see it. And I sort of kept looking back at it because I kept it open in my Google browser, and I looked back at it and I was like, maybe.
Like
Maybe.
if you rock the Game of Death outfit, like the yellow tracksuit with the black stripes, I swear, like people are like, oh my god, like looks like Uma Thurman. So I don't know. No, I'm thrilled. Like, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Like we've been, as I said, hanging out, getting to know each other a bit more, and talking about movies and stuff. So, and like you recommended me a film, it was either a week or two ago, and people outside of my circle don't really do that very often. I think people like get intimidated. I don't know why. But like people are like, oh, he loves movies, so I better get it right. Otherwise, he'll ridicule me. But that's the complete opposite of this show. Like my whole thing is that all movies are great, which I think is one of the few things we will disagree on because I've heard some opinions that you've got already. But I don't hate any movie. Like some movies aren't for me. But my whole thing is like, look, if every film is someone's favorite film, then there are no bad films. But you were like, I'm recommending this, and I watched it, and I dug it. But I was just like, oh. I would never think of this as someone's favorite film. It's not a bad film. It just didn't really kind of click. And so I texted you. I was like, hey, here's my review. I broke it down the way I do, which is over analytically and just kind of like, well, this is what I think about the characters and the music and all this. And then you responded back like unprompted by things I said, and like we're just talking about it in a very analytical way. So I was like, okay, like podcast time. Like she's she's the real deal. Like she's talking about stuff that like no one, like most people don't talk about. Outside of my circle. So it was very, very cool. I was very impressed.
You know what was crazy though is when you analyzed it so much, not so much, when you analyzed the movie and you actually gave me your full on, feedback and whatnot, I thought, okay, I'm comfortable enough to share my, feedback and agreement or disagreement or whatever. A lot of people don't give me the time of day to explain those things. I think I had said it to you where I said a lot of people that I will see a movie with or have watched movies or discussed movies with, they usually sort of they don't really discuss it. They just say, "Oh, that was good," or "That was bad," or "I really liked that," or "That was horrible," or they'll quote something from the movie, but they won't actually talk about the movie. Like, no, let's talk about it, I don't just want to talk about, for example, this movie. Oh, Matthew McConaughey, he was so good in that. No, I don't just want to talk about that, like I want to talk about the parts that I found cringy or the parts that I found exciting or, who really stood out to me or I don't know, just, yeah, I just like talking more in depth about things. It gets the conversation flowing.
Yeah, that's exactly why the show exists. Like the show kind of came about for a few different reasons. Because I used to sling DVDs back in the day. That was one of my jobs. And we would talk about movies every single day. But it turns out like unless you work in like hospitality or retail or like moving DVDs, like most people don't talk about movies. They talk about like I don't want to say boring stuff, but just stuff that's outside of my language. Like film is my language, and I don't know that I talk about it particularly eloquently. Like you've been very kind about the way I talk about it, but for me, it's just like no. I need film to express emotion. I need a film to talk about the way I feel and stuff like that. And when I
Mm.
started doing all the jobs, I remember like I was working in a call center. I was working for selling insurance for like 9 months. And one weekend I finally got to the movies because I was working like till 8 p.m. at night. So it was just like it was too late for me to go to the movies. I used to go to the movies every week. I lived 5 minutes from a cinema, and every Wednesday I had off matinee, first thing in the morning, movies, cinema to myself. And
Mhm.
that changed when I worked in insurance. And like I came back, I finally went to the movies one weekend, and I just put in like the group chat. I was just like, "Hey guys, I went to Rocket Man. It was the Elton John biopic," and I was like, "Pretty good. Definitely had me crying. Definitely worth checking out." And then someone was like, "Whoa, someone's a movie buff," and I was like, I mean, yeah, like I guess. Look, I've talked about it nonstop, but why are you calling out in such a weird way? And then I was like,
Mm.
okay, I guess I'll keep my mouth shut. And then like when I went to work in a different, before the job I have now, I worked in retail in a chemist, and I was talking to people. I'm like, oh, what did you do last night? And they were all into like yoga and mindfulness and stuff like that, which is fine. Like like you got to take care of yourself that way. But when I asked them about movies, they're like, oh, like I don't really know anyone who watches movies. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? So after after kind of lockdown ended and like the pandemic kind of, I mean, the pandemic, is it ever really over? I don't know. But like when things started
Mm.
to settle down, I was like, well, now that I know about this thing called Zoom, I'm going to start a podcast. I did a podcast years ago with my wife and my friend Nick. I'm telling like information that the audience knows already, but it's cool.
Mm.
Like I'm filling you in the blanks. Um, but it was so based on everyone's schedules, three people's schedules, and it just we could never get to quite work, and we always had to do it in person because we didn't know how to do online back then. So once I
Mhm.
discovered Zoom, I was like, I'm going to do it myself. I'm like, I'm not kicking them out. Like they can come on as much as they want, but if it's my show, if I run everything, then I can have a rotating co-host. We can schedule it, and then I can talk about movies every week and get it out of my system.
Yeah.
And that's where it came from. Was just like I just want to talk to people about movies. And like I got my dad on, I've got my mum on, I've got like some of my oldest friends. Um, and then I met you, and I was like, oh my god, like you're gonna like in terms of popularity on the show, I do anticipate, and I could be wrong. I'm setting a high bar, so you better meet it. Is that I think you'll shoot quite high in terms of preferred guests because I've listened to the way you talk about films. Like you're very similar to my friend Nick, who's very analytical, and we will do 3-hour episodes about Batman. We'll just talk and talk and talk. The only difference between you and Nick is I think that you are more like me than he is. Like we're pretty similar, but like we've joked about in the past, and I don't think I said we were like multiversal doppelgangers before. Like
Mm.
the amount of things we've discovered in common just over the last couple of weeks is like that's weird. Like
Yeah.
we stopped even calling it out. We won't even say like, oh, same. Now we just like draw a tick in the air, like when it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am talking too much. I will allow you to contribute to the conversation.
Not at all. No, I find it very interesting and like exciting how much we have in common, but the thing I like about it the most is that it's none of that sort of common stuff that's like, "Oh, no way, me too." It's always the, like,
Like you
really
went to school,
strange weird.
like
No, it's always the really, like we've discussed before, so I feel like I can say this, the weird stuff.
it
Like,
is,
it's
and like
always the strange stuff.
there's stuff we won't say, like because there's like I can't even say, well, yeah. I'm trying not to tease the audience. Like, no, but some of the stuff is personal stuff. Like,
Mm.
it's just kind of stuff that has to do with like um, growing up and things like that. Where like, I
Mm.
have no qualms talking about certain aspects of it, but by admitting it, I'm therefore admitting it for you because we have it in common. But yeah,
Yeah.
like there is weird stuff. But even something as simple as like today at work, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna quickly get lunch before this meeting, and I was talking to you. I'm like, what did you get? Like, is that like toast and jam? And you're like, no, just hot toast with butter. And I was like, I love like a hot buttered roll. Like that is my go-to. And then we were also talking about a couple of weeks ago. I had this thing you probably wouldn't have heard of. It's pretty uncommon. It's very, very British. It's called like it's a potato chip sandwich. And as you said potato chip, I was like sandwich. Like you said at the same time. I was like so good.
Yep. Yep. It's
Uh,
just it's things down to the T, like, what's the one difference we have? Coffee.
yeah, I don't like coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah, I don't like coffee. But I don't really like hot drinks at all. Like I'll have a hot chocolate in winter from time to
Mm.
time, but
Mm.
I'm really not a big hot drink guy. Like it's just not my thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So and I'm really on the outside there. Like most people, like at least like some sort of hot beverage.
Mm. Yeah. Have
Yeah.
you ever tried, like, hot water and lemon?
Yeah. I used to, when I was taking care of myself better and I was exercising and like lost a bunch of weight and stuff, I ditched soft drink completely and instead I just drank mineral water with lemon juice. That was my go-to. So I'm big on like natural lemon stuff. People like talk about movies. Like we'll get there. Like I just like with Nick, there are gonna be some tangents. Like Samantha and I go all over the map. Like it,
Yep. Yep. We'll start talking about one thing and we'll end up talking about something completely different.
yeah.
I have a very bad habit of that. Starting a conversation and not finishing the original conversation. Yep. Tick.
Just drew a little tick in the air. I need to enunciate tick with a T, just to anyone who thinks I'm being filthy right now. It'd be very difficult to draw. Well, let's talk about movies a little bit, and then we'll probably get distracted again, which is fine. Where does it start for you? Like, were you a big movie kid growing up? I know I know a little bit the answer because we're talking before the show, but like, is film introduced to you by someone? Do you kind of discover it on your own? Were you like a video store kid? Were you like you're quite a bit younger than me? Like you're the youngest guest I've ever had on the show, I think. So like, is the video store even really a part of your childhood, or like how does it all begin? And like, did you love it from a young age, or was it a lot later in life you discovered it? Lots of questions.
Lots of questions. If I can be completely honest, now I don't know whether you've ever heard or seen these movies, or heard of or seen these movies. They were a series called the Carry On films.
Yeah, absolutely. Carry On Camping. Yeah. My dad was a big fan. My dad loves British humor. Like he introduced me to the Pythons very, very early in my life. So
So being from London and living in London until I was 6 years old, my dad also loving the British humor, he used to put these sort of movies on and he would watch them all the time and I showed interest in them. You know, little 5, 6-year-old me would be watching them so often that they're a very inappropriate movie as
they're
well.
quite bawdy, if I understand. Like I think probably like by today's standards, they're probably not too explicit, but I don't know whether some of the jokes are PC. I've never seen a Carry On film. But yeah. Not by choice. Not be like, oh, I refuse to watch that smut. Just there's so many movies, I just haven't got around to them yet. So
yeah, so I used
you just
to
earn big points with like the diehard nerds. They're like Carry On films. Whoa. So.
Yeah. So I used to bounce on the trampoline. I used to jump on the trampoline. I used to do trampolining when I was younger as well. And I used to recite these movies. And there are multiple videos of me that my nana has taken of me when I was 6, 4, 5, 6 years old, reciting these Carry On films. From then on, because I loved them so much, I've I wouldn't say always trusted my dad's movie recommendations, but anything that he sort of recommended to me after that, I would always watch.
Nice.
So then came sort of, like, as we were talking about, like the VHS tapes and whatnot.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like before we recorded, sorry to interrupt you. Like I'll let you get back and be like, yeah, we used to have like a VHS. Like I don't know if you've heard of the VHS, and I was like, I literally have a VCR in my house, and I have multiple, like I have all of my childhood VHSs. Like, as does my wife. Like we hold. She's like, we should get rid of them. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like that's gold. Like it's not worth anything, but that's history. Like gotta hold on to it. But yeah, I thought that was very cute. We were like, have you heard of the VHS? I was like, yeah. I used to work in a video store where I would rent out the VHS to people.
Yep. Yeah. We didn't have them for long.
Oh yeah, like they were on their way out. Like as I said, I don't like. You know what? I'm not going to say that. It's fine. I was going to talk about your age. I'm like, I don't need to harp on about it. We get it. Like,
I was young. I know that they were on their way out because we still have all of the Carry On films on DVD.
Nice.
So we sort of watched a mixture of both, but they were definitely still around when my how much older am I than my brother? Probably about 5 or 6 years. And
I didn't know that. I didn't realize it was such a large age gap.
Yeah. So yeah, I would be 6 years older than him. So when he was about 3 or 4, I believe, he was still watching, the VHS tapes. He watched The Land Before Time. He always
Yeah,
used to watch The Land Before Time on
yeah,
VHS tapes.
big one from yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where movies started for me. I can't really remember what I would watch after that. I feel like I was moving to Australia, so I was sort of watching a lot of, like Australian kids TV. Then we had a Foxtel box.
I
That's
had a
what we
Foxtel
had.
box. Yeah,
Yeah. And then my parents annoyingly got rid of it, which was very annoying to me because I used to record all of my favorite TV shows.
were
Um,
you a big like Cartoon Network kid?
See, I feel like I did watch a fair few things on Cartoon Network, but it was more so Disney. But
Yeah.
I feel like
Actually, that makes a lot of sense knowing what you're
yeah,
into. Yeah.
yeah. There was a lot of Disney. I think there was 2 Disney channels, or maybe it was Nickelodeon. And
Nickelodeon's great. Yeah, all that stuff's awesome.
there was one of them, I think it was Nickelodeon, that I genuinely refused to watch because I just hated it so much. I don't know why. It just gave like little 14-year-old me like the biggest ick. It just made me go,
Nickelodeon stuff is pretty weird. Like especially the '90s stuff, which is probably a little bit early for you, but like stuff like even Rugrats is pretty weird. But
mm,
like Our Real Monsters was quite weird. Ren and Stimpy, which I was never allowed to watch. It was too offensive apparently. Still haven't watched it. That was like quite weird. Rocko's Modern Life is very weird. So like all that like '90s Nickelodeon stuff is very, yeah, very very strange. I think it made a lot of parents uncomfortable.
yeah,
So if you weren't into that, I totally get it. Um,
yeah. It was just very, very odd. I can't remember why I didn't like it. I just really refused to watch anything. And I
mm.
remember there was one TV show, again, I can't remember what it was, but I always wanted to watch it, but I refused to watch it because it was only on Nickelodeon. I just could not bring myself. But
And you said you were 14, so it wasn't even like you were a child making like irrational decisions. Like you had some years on you at that point.
yeah, yeah, I was, yeah, just angsty teen, I guess,
What? What are you
refuses to
talking about?
watch Nickelodeon. Yeah, then I found out about MTV, which was interesting because I started watching Geordie Shore.
I was
Um,
wondering which reality it was because yeah, my wife was a big like
yeah,
Laguna Beach fan, but
okay,
Geordie Shore, yeah, and she watches Geordie. She doesn't watch it anymore, but she watched Geordie Shore and stuff as well.
yeah. So I used to watch that. Yeah, mum and dad annoyingly decided to take the Foxtel box away because they thought I didn't use it. So RIP. um, and then, I remember getting Netflix and whatnot. We were very late to the whole Netflix
Me
trend.
too.
We
Me too. Yeah.
we never really had it. We just thought, what's the point? We usually buy, what we did? We would have DVDs that we would buy at the store. We did actually have a Video Easy, I believe it was called. Was
That's
it a
where I
Video
worked.
Easy?
Video
Yeah.
Easy, like R.I.P. I'm sure there's a
We
couple
had
left.
one. We had one. It was up until I mean, I say not that long ago. It was probably about 6 years ago, but we had one probably about 7 minutes roundabout from my house.
Mm.
So we used to get movies from there. I remember when it closed down. Um, but the biggest place I think we've ever got movies from is from Bali.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
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 So yeah, we have hundreds of movies from Bali. But, shortly after that, then came along Netflix and, the Stans and the Disney Pluses of the world. And I never really got into TV and movie properly, I guess, until lockdown.
Wow, so it is new.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. You mentioned a couple of things I didn't want to interrupt because I'm
No, you're
prone
fine.
to, thank you. I'm prone to doing it on my own show. But I didn't want to interrupt because I was fascinated because I'm learning so much. Like that's the thing. Like as I said before, like we've been like kind of friends for 6 months or so, and like over the last few months, really beginning to know each other. And I'm just like cramming as much friendship into the time as possible, but I'm still like learning things. So I was a Foxtel kid as well, and
Mm,
I was talking about this recently, I think with my wife, and I was like, I think like I invented streaming, and like no, I didn't invent streaming, but when I
mm,
got Foxtel. I was like, oh my God, we can watch whatever movie or show whenever we like. We can just click a button. And then then Foxtel happened. I'm like, oh, you can't. I'm like, it'd be so good if you had a TV where you could just choose it off the screen. So, young 8-year-old James was onto something.
Yeah.
I was ahead of my time. They called me a madman. In terms of streaming, and we're going to get into streaming more because you're going to talk about how you really got into movies then during lockdown stuff. I've never really talked about it on the show, but I've talked about it a tiny little bit. I kind of hate streaming. Like, I don't hate anything. I really don't hate anything. I'm at a point in my life where like I don't have enough energy to hate, but I'm not a fan of streaming. Like, it's killing physical media, which I get. Like, it makes sense. It's affordable. It's in your home. You have to leave your house. That's fine. But I find navigating streaming frustrating. I don't like the algorithms on any of them. Like, Netflix is the best of them. Disney Plus is quite good as well because you can alphabetize. But I don't like streaming. I don't like the way it's all laid out. I miss holding something tangible. I miss like going to a store and flipping through. I miss going to a video store and like seeing cool cover art and be like, oh, what's this? Who cares? I'll give it a go. Like, streaming has removed all that. So I know I sound like I'm about 100 now because I sound like an old man. I understand the convenience, but like, I'm slowly canceling our streaming services. And when my wife's like, why do that? I'm like, because we'll just buy it. We'll just watch it forever. And when lockdown started and everyone's internet's plural, and everyone's internet was crashing because everyone was streaming at once, I was like, well, who's an idiot now with a box full of Blu-rays?
Yep.
I'm way in the minority there, and I get it, and that's fine. Like, but yeah, I just yeah, streaming bums me out. Like, I'll use it. Like, I like having Disney Plus for the shows and stuff. It was really funny the day that I got Disney Plus, and we will get back to you because the show is about you today. I was looking up. I was like, I wonder if they've got the DuckTales movie because I love DuckTales. Like, DuckTales to me, classic Disney cartoon. Like that Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, like all those are like huge for me as a kid. And they did have the DuckTales movie. It was like The Legend of the Lost Lamp or something, and it doesn't matter the story, but they had it, and I was like, I wonder. And I went to my garage. I launched Disney Plus. I went to my garage. I came back. I took a photo, and I had my VHS of the DuckTales movie, like in its clamshell next to the TV. I'm like, look, Disney Plus, you've done well, but I'm going to one up you here. So yeah, I don't know why I told that story. I guess just to like talk poorly about streaming. Like, I don't hate it. I don't like what it's replaced.
Yeah, I can't relate in the way of going to like a video store and, having that sort of experience because that was never really something, I did. But I can sort of relate in the way that I do not understand Netflix's algorithm. Everything for me is a 98% match. I don't get it. Not everything is a 98% match. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Everything it's because are you giving them like thumbs up and thumbs down and stuff?
I don't do that.
That's why.
Don't. Oh.
If you like things and dislike things, it'll then. I mean, I don't think it still sounds broken to me. It sounds like it's missing something. But if you like, and I used to do it all the time when I first got it. Like, I did get into it. I'm like, I like this. I don't like this. I like this. Like, I'm gonna put all these on my watch list, and like, I just wouldn't watch it. And that was the thing. That's the problem I have. I add more and more things to my watch list, and let's go to my Blu-ray closet and watch Blu-rays instead. Like, I was like, if I have a physical pile, or like, I'll show you. You've seen my collection before, but you can kind of see. You can see some Blu-rays are sticking out of the wall. Those are the ones I've never watched before, so I can keep track of them. So now I know, like, all right, well, I haven't watched Enter the Void yet, so I'll watch it. That'll be on my list.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't know if it's cool. It's just like, it's just a reminder of, hey, moron, you paid this money, you should probably watch the thing you paid for. But I've gotten better. Like, at the start of last year, I had 100 movies I hadn't watched, and I think now I've got about 30, so that ain't half bad.
Yeah,
and considering I bought like over 100 Blu-rays last year, that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's really good.
Really good. Is it like people are like, oh wow, like, well done, you sat down and watched a movie? Well done, what an achievement. Go out and create something.
No, just being able to absorb that much content in that little time, I could never do that. I'm a big, this is something I've just thought of before. was how when I was younger, I used to watch the Carry On films over and over and over again. Guess what I still do? I still watch things that I like over and over and over, and I refuse to watch anything else or try anything new.
So I was like that. I think I told you about this at work one day in one of our many tangential chats, where I was like, because you were telling me, because I gave you a list. I was like, but first I gave you a list of 10. I was just sitting about, we're talking about movies a little bit. I just want to recommend 10 films to you. I think you'd seen one of the 10, which is pretty good odds. Like normally, like people have seen half of them. And so I gave you the list of 10. And then I was talking to you, like I started watching this, and I was like, oh, have you finished yet? And you're like, no, I started rewatching one of my favorite films, The Gentleman. I was like, oh, like you wouldn't finish the film you were watching? You're like, no, but like I will catch up to it, but I like to rewatch stuff a lot. And I think I was telling you at that point, like I used to be like that a lot, and I still do rewatch. Like right now, I'm doing a thing this year, which I try to do every year. I kind of fall off the wagon pretty early, but this year I'm watching something new and then I'm rewatching something. So I'm getting that balance because I try to watch 200 films a year minimum. That's kind of my goal. So I try to watch a little bit, but for the last few years, it's been really heavily focused on new content, except for when my daughter was born. When my daughter was born, I was so sleep deprived I could only rewatch stuff. I rewatched 180 films in like 3 months. I had a lot of free time.
Oh my goodness.
But now I'm alternating. So right now I've watched 37 new films and I've watched 39 films I've seen before. So pretty close. I'm almost at 80 films for the year.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But I like rewatching stuff, and I was demonizing it for a while because I was like, no, you've got to watch new stuff. Like you have to, keep watching, like keep consuming new content. But then I was like, man, I haven't seen this. Like last year I watched Spider-Man No Way Home 3 times. Like I love that film. I know you're not a big superhero fan, so I won't, just clean your ears out. Sorry about that. But like, that's a film I adore. And it's like I watched all the Marvel films in anticipation for the Doctor Strange film. So the last film before that was Spider-Man. It's like, man, that was awesome. And then like a month later, I was like, I want to watch Spider-Man again. It's just in my head. I just want to watch it again. And then like a month later, I was like, I want to watch Spider-Man again. Like it was just so I appreciate the desire for the rewatch. And I used to be a big rewatcher as a kid, but then I wasn't consuming a lot of new film. But now that I have the podcast and I have the Instagram account, like I post on the Instagram account just about every day. And that's kind of forced me to watch more things as well because I'm like, well, I need to post. So I'll post what I'm watching.
Yeah. That again, just going off on a complete tangent, I was going to bring that up with you. I actually went on Instagram and I looked at your podcast's Instagram account.
Okay, so I didn't know this until right now. Like you're blowing my mind here, because normally at the end of the show we do plugs. So just so you guys know, Samantha doesn't use social media. Like you've got it, but the last time, like recently, I was like, oh, I finally found you on social media. I went to add you, but it's not there anymore. And you're like, yeah, I deactivated it. So.
Yeah, I rarely use it. The only thing I use, I'm a bit of a Facebook mum, but the only thing I use Facebook for is to look at where I live's worst drivers.
I mean, like we won't talk about it on the show, but I know maybe a little bit of the story as to why you're doing that.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
So I didn't know that you were Instagram stalking the podcast. It's a public page, like, so it's not Instagram stalking really, but I didn't know you were looking at that.
No, I was looking through it and I was watching some of the videos and I was like, that's so cool. You can see all the Blu-rays, all the DVDs, everything. And that's why I was so interested. And I said, that's so cool when you said, oh, I have all these Blu-rays, poking out of the wall because they're the ones that I, need to watch. Because when I was looking at the videos, I was like, why has he done that? Why are they still poking out? But I saw a few things in there. Like I saw, oh, pardon me, sorry, that was very rude of me on the podcast.
I didn't hear anything. I just heard you dismiss yourself. So, and she's never welcome back on the show. This episode's over.
I saw Fall. I remember we spoke about Fall.
They just announced a sequel to Fall.
Really? Already?
Yeah.
It didn't come out that long ago. That's quite crazy.
That's the Hollywood machine, man. Like now they just pump them out.
Yeah, fair enough. But the thing that made me the happiest of all was you had the In-Betweeners, and I assume it's the movies because the box is not as big as like if you were to buy all 3 seasons. But that made me so happy because I have the exact same box set of
It's the UK
In-Betweeners.
box set.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think mine's not. Wait, do you mean like the In-Betweeners UK version?
No,
like
I imported it from the UK. It was cheaper to get the box set from the UK than to buy it in Australia. Like to import it and ship it was cheaper than in Australia. I could go on a tangent for hours about my feelings about the way physical media is distributed in Australia. Like it's so expensive. The range is so limited. Like that's why I buy. Like it used to all be Australian stock, and now I would say a third of my collection is UK. And maybe 10, maybe not 10%, but a smaller portion is the US, and it's growing. Because between availability and pricing, I'm like, I'll just get it from overseas. Like they announced online recently, there's a movie last year called X, which is I put that on your list of movies to watch, and a prequel called Pearl. X only got a DVD release in Australia. Like that's the thing they keep doing in Australia, is like they only release on DVD. I'm like, why? Like it's a 30-year-old format. Get rid of it. Go Blu-ray. And Pearl didn't come out at all. And then recently, like, we're announcing Pearl is finally coming to Australian cinemas and it's getting a physical media release. I was like, cool. Well, I bought mine in December and I got it shipped in like in the first week of January. So, thanks for catching up to the party, guys.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I get angry about is like, why can't I see this movie?
Yeah. I feel like I've never heard of that the media is, more expensive here than it would be to buy it in the UK and sort of import it as well.
US is expensive. Like that's where it kills me. Like the US stuff is expensive. Because you also have to pay tax on. I mean, like we get into real minutiae here now. People like talk about movies. You have to pay tax and you have to pay the import fee. But the UK, there's a big distributor. I'm not going to plug them, but there's a huge UK distributor. They're fantastic. I've shouted them out on social media before. And they had a flat rate shipping. Doesn't matter how much you order. Flat rate shipping, $9 Australian internationally. So I would just like wait a couple of months, put some money together, spend $500, import like 30 Blu-rays for $9 shipping, pay it off, wait a couple of months, $500, and do it all over again.
My goodness.
They've increased the shipping rates now to I think $14 flat rate, but that doesn't bother me at all. I'm like $14 flat rate, no matter how much I order. That's great.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
driving my wife insane. She's like, Netflix. Like you know how I feel about Netflix.
She'll have to do you a list of things she wants to watch, and then you go out and buy them for her.
Yeah. I've done that before. I bought stuff for her. The one thing about the Blu-ray setup that sucks is obviously I have them all, as you mentioned, they're hanging out because I haven't watched them. My daughter is about half tall, so she'll just go through and push them all in. I'm like, no, I need to remember what I haven't seen. You're ruining it. Okay, so you got into movies during lockdown.
Yes. That's where
we're almost 45 minutes into this episode and we're not even close to your list. Which I anticipated. Like I'd said to you before, this will either be a very quick episode or one of the longest ones I've done. And that's why I'm excited, because I just know we're going to go all over the place.
I know. Yeah, so during lockdown, I'd seen things here and there on Netflix. I'd watch the odd movie that I'd be like, oh, I remember seeing that in the cinema.
Sorry, I have to interrupt. I just realized. So you were not like a big cinema goer, like when you were a kid? Like you didn't go to the movies a lot, or?
Sometimes. Not overly. I would not say that it was something I really regularly did. I feel like, maybe in school holidays or when I got a bit older and, me, my friend, and our mums would go, to the cinema or something like that.
I was just doing the math and I guess I'm going to reveal to everyone your age, but I'm doing the maths in my head. So pandemic is 2020. That puts you at about 18 years old, if I'm on the right track, ish. Like you would have been around 18 at the start of the pandemic. So
yeah, I was 17 turning 18.
Yes. Because February 25th, so everyone can mark it in their calendars.
Yeah.
You can mark in your calendars for next year, guys, when we do the birthday episode. So you're 17 turning 18. So like a big thing for me, a big part of me getting independence was going to the movies with friends. I did very little dating as a teenager, but like when I did go on dates, it was to the cinema. And then at a certain point, I realized I go to the movies by myself. So when I was 17, I was like, oh, I can just go to the movies by myself. Like, why didn't anyone tell me that? So that was a big part of my childhood. And again, I'm not saying like, I know we don't do everything exactly the same. Like, but so was that kind of a part of your teenage years? Like, were you going to movies with friends? Were you doing like the whole dating thing? Were you like kind of, I don't know why I like made it all embarrassing. Oh, dating. Like, did you go on dates to the movies? Did you like do any of that sort of stuff, or was that not really part of your formative years?
When I was younger, I would go sometimes with, my mum or my brother, or, my dad worked away a lot. So during the holidays, he was mostly away, or on weekends, he was mostly away. And, it's all well and good, I don't have kids, so I don't really know what it's like. But
What?
from my, so I guess my mum's perspective, her having to try and entertain us all the time after school, on the weekends, on holidays. My dad, I make it sound like he wasn't ever here. He was, but he would sort of go away for like, 4 weeks at a time, and he'd come back for a couple of days. So
My dad was a big worker. He would like work a lot of weekends. He'd work a lot of nights. Like when I was very young, he'd work a lot of nights, and then when I was a bit older, he would work weekends, and we would often go to work with him and stuff. But it wasn't like we're hanging out with dad, like we're at work. And that's not a criticism of my dad at all. Like
yeah.
people listen to the show know I adore my dad. Like I wouldn't put him on the podcast if I didn't want to talk to him. Like I'm a big fan of him. But yeah, so there was a lot of kind of, and then my parents split as well, obviously. So then it was kind of shuttling between two houses. So I wouldn't see him for stretches of time either, but not as long as what you're saying. But I guess what I'm saying is I get it. Like instead of going to work on school holidays, we would have like grandparents or something take us to the movies or that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's sort of when I would go to the movies, I guess. When I got a bit older, so when you sort of get to that independent teenage age where, sorry, pardon me again, guys.
I know what you were doing. I know what you were doing before the recording, and it's coming back. It's with a vengeance.
Yep. Yeah, so I would sort of go sometimes with my friends to the movies, very rarely. I was not a big friend person, not because I didn't want friends, but just because I didn't have any. So I wouldn't really go.
I know. I know. Like we've talked a lot about stuff. You don't have to go into that if you don't want to. Like it's cool.
I know.
I could say I was like, oh no, I didn't say to her before the show, don't talk about things you don't want to. But yeah.
No, it's
I had like 3, like, and that's kind of where I am now as well. Well, 4 now. 4 now.
Nice. 2 more than me.
I'm one of the illustrious 2. That's not the first time I've made that joke. I'll take it.
Yeah, so not really many friends. I would go if I did have a friend or some friends, but I did go on a date one day with a guy to the cinema, and I won't say, what happened, but it was really bad. So never, ever, ever.
Like you can't, like they can't see the smile on my face, but they can hear it. Like, because we haven't like talked about that stuff. Like, I think I told you about a date I went on, and the movie we saw, I came out and I was like, "Well, what did you think?" And she's like, "I thought it was really funny." I was like, "Oh, well, this is not going to last long." It wasn't my wife. Ironically, I took my wife to see a bad movie. I love the movie, but it's considered a bad movie. We went and saw Spider-Man 3 on our first date. Which is a film I like, the second mention of Spider-Man in this podcast. But yeah, okay, go back to your date because like this is, I mean, I love this.
So yeah, I went on a date and it was horrible, and it wasn't one of those situations where you can sort of go, okay, this isn't for me. I'm never going to see this person again. This guy didn't go to my school, but he caught the exact same train route home with me, and it was a 45-minute train route. We would always get the same train. So,
what was the movie? Like that's the thing I'm interested in. Like I've learned something about your romantic past. I'm like, no, but what movie?
It's like a something Player Zero or something.
Oh, Ready Player One?
Yeah, that's one. That's one. Yeah, that was the movie.
What did you think of? I mean, look, obviously the the experience of the film was marred by the terrible date. But what was your opinion of Ready Player One?
Okay, it was so horrible. I pretended to be asleep for half the movie.
Oh, I'm
So
going to
I
give you
don't.
a half tick because I came back from my honeymoon, I think it was. The week it came out, I went to A Quiet Place, and the next day I went to Ready Player One, and I almost fell asleep in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Not a bad film, just jet lagged. It's not my favorite film, but I really did like the shining part of it. When they got to the scary stuff, I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 5 years ago, like on the same week, you and I were both falling asleep in Ready Player One.
Yeah, so that movie, I've never watched it again. I probably never will watch it again
Oh, I can't wait to ask
because,
more about this date once the show's over.
oh my goodness. No. Yeah, don't really. Cinema hasn't really been, like going to the movies and whatnot. You know where the movies was a big thing for me? Like I said, movies started during COVID, during
Yes, yes,
lockdown.
yes. Let's get back to
Yes,
that.
let's
Yeah.
go back to that. So I had Stan. I would watch Stan so much because The Office was on there. And because of lockdown, in the place that I live, other than all the other places in this big place that we live on, because I'm not going to go into details of where we live. So on this big island that we live on, all the different places
Wait,
on
you
it.
live on an island?
Yeah. Well, technically, it is just one big island.
Wait,
There,
Australia? You just talking about the island of Australia?
I don't know whether you've specified where you live. I didn't want to just be
Oh
like,
no,
oh,
like
you
we're in
live in
Australia. I talk
Australia.
about being in Victoria. I talk about like I haven't talked about. I haven't given out my address. On the old podcast I had, Nick would say my address every week because we lived on a very French-sounding street, so he wanted to make it sound classy. But no, we've talked about like I mean, look, I think maybe not listening to you, but listening to me, they can tell I'm Australian. With you, they're like, oh, she's rather posh. She might be from foggy old London town. Uh, Not my best English accent.
It was top notch, top notch.
Okay, so watching movies on this island, I'm guessing, is the country we live in.
Yes, so in Australia, in WA, basically, I live in WA. So in WA, our person that I don't know what you would call him, and I don't really want to say his name.
That's okay.
Mark McGowan.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, he's like is it your MP, your MP?
Premier?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
leader of your state?
yeah,
Okay, yep. Cool.
yeah. Mark
Yeah, how bad is
McGowan.
that? I am an Australian mate. Like I've been in Australia for my entire life. I'm like, I don't know who that is. I got no idea. I pay no attention to politics or news or Australia really.
Yeah, me neither,
I'm
really.
like, if there's a
Other than
movie, like even the movie Australia, I didn't really pay much attention to. Like, and that was a movie. So
yeah. Yeah, so he basically shut the borders to Perth for longer than any other state.
I
So when
remember
everyone
this.
else
Yeah.
was, riddled with COVID, everyone was getting it left, right, and center, WA over here, we were still not allowed to leave our houses. We were only allowed out like for a certain, I believe there was like a time limit. I remember going to the bottle shop and you were only allowed a certain amount of alcohol as well. You couldn't buy too much alcohol, but yeah, so there was lots of different restrictions and whatnot. So long story short, I was stuck in my room for so long. And because I didn't have a job, I couldn't go out, I couldn't see my friends, I would sit in my bed all day and all night until 4 a.m. most mornings. And I would do a puzzle on my bed while I would watch The Office.
I mean, that sounds like heaven to me. Like
Yeah.
I worked through lockdown. Like I worked in I think I mentioned before in a pharmacy for a big part of 2020. And after my daughter was born, I was like, this seems unsafe. Like I'm around sick people all the time during the middle of a pandemic, have a baby, time to move on. And then I moved straight into a work from home over the phone role. And that's as much as I'll say about that because we don't talk about work on this show. But so I never stopped. I worked the entire way through the pandemic. Like I remember I had an argument with my area manager. She was lovely. Like I wasn't having an argument with her. I was just frustrated. But I was saying to him, like, look, we're on the front lines. Well, not the front lines. Like we weren't working but like in a pharmacy, it's close to front lines. Look, we're out here exposing ourselves every day. Is there hazard pay coming? And she's like, honestly, I don't know. I said, the reason I'm asking is that my father and mother and brother and sister, they have all been told not to work because they're all in retail and hospitality, and they get paid like the government. I can't remember what it was called, but it was the government pay, and like I think it was the same for everyone. Got like paid $1,500 a week or something to help them cover their pay. I was like, I'm making less than that. Like I'm like making like $200 less than that. So what's my incentive to work? Because like I'm out here like around sick people who are not following the rules, and I'm getting paid less than people who get to sit home and watch movies. And everyone's like, "Oh man, I've watched all of Netflix," and I was like, "Oh, what a terrible problem to have!" Like, oh, you saw all the movies. I would love to have seen all the movies. So when you're like, I was lying in bed doing puzzles up till 4 a.m. watching The Office, like to me, I'm like, that sounds like just the best holiday ever. I'm sure it wasn't always great for you, but to me, I'm like, that sounds perfect.
No, it was fun, and during those times it was so scary because no one really knew what COVID was. I remember when COVID hit, I was in Japan and we rushed home. We were like, oh my goodness, we're all going to die. Well, my
Yeah.
family was at least. So, yeah, that's what I did the whole of lockdown. And I can happily say that from whenever that was, I believe January of 2020 up until now, I have not stopped watching The Office. I will not. I will not and cannot stop watching The Office.
That was one of the. So before I told the story about how you came to a meeting with the top 5 films, and I was like, this is amazing. The second part to that story, and the second key to our friendship, is I was talking to you one day. We were having like a catch up or a meeting or something, and one thing I do, it's very common in workplaces when you're doing catch up with staff. I was like, hey, how was your week? Just like a little bit of rapport building, just like kind of breaking the ice. I was like, how was your weekend? She's like, oh, well, yeah, it wasn't too bad. I went to the shops because I wanted to buy a DVD box set. I was like, oh, what DVD box? Like immediately my ears pricked up. I was like, what DVD box set? And you're like, oh, The Office. I don't know if you've heard of it. And I was like, yeah, like I've been watching it I wasn't as pretentious. I was like, yeah, I've been watching it forever. But like, I was like, yeah, I'm a big fan. I've been watching it for a long, long time. And I remember I asked you because I was like, hang on, like you're like Gen Z, I think. You're young. Like, wouldn't you just stream it? And just like how I finished potato chip sandwich before, you're like, yeah, but the streaming doesn't have everything I want. I want the DVDs because then I can watch and I go special features. We said special features at the same time.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, like the bloopers and the behind the scenes. I was like, oh my god, like this person, like this girl is the Logan of people. People who know me, like Logan is one of the few films I've like referred to as a perfect film. I was like, everything she's into, I'm into. Like, and that was even before I learned about all the weird coincidences.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, oh my god, like physical meat as well. Like she's definitely getting on this show. Like at some point, like we're gonna make it work.
Yep. Yep. And here we are.
Haven't talked about many movies yet, though. A lot of office talk, a lot of streaming shows.
Yeah. Oopsie.
No, that's okay. I love all that. I love that you're. So the whole point of the show is to talk to fun and interesting people about the things they love, and there's no rules. I've said time and time again, like people like love films as obsessively as me, or people who don't find it till later in life. Like I really like your story because you're like, well, like I found it as a kid and stuff, but then life happened, and then like we had this weird global trauma that we all shared, and that's when I rediscovered. That's not even a joke. Like it's a. I mean, like, how dare you? No, like it's not even a joke, but like it's true. Like we went through this global trauma. Like we all were like, oh, all of us could be dead in a minute. Like if we don't do the right thing. And during that time, you're like, well, I found The Office,
Yep.
and I imagine you found movies and stuff as well.
I just watched The Office. I'm not even kidding. I don't think I watched anything else. Maybe the in-betweeners here and there, but it was just mainly The Office. So
excellent.
Yeah.
I'm keen to get to your list because we are an hour in, but there is a movie we have to talk about because you mentioned before you're a Disney kid. I know you're a big Winnie the Pooh fan. And the other day I was texting you, I was like, oh, so what are your thoughts on this movie? And this year there was a horror movie release now that the rights to Winnie the Pooh have been released from Disney. A horror film called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And I sent it to you because I'm like, well, she likes horror. She likes Winnie the Pooh. This is going to be her jam. And your response was?
I hate it. And I don't hate a lot of things. I hate it. That ruins my childhood. I'm not kidding. When you sent that to me, I was like, please let's not have this conversation because it's going to go completely south. I am just going to tear this movie to shreds.
I'd never heard you be hateful before. And like over the last couple of weeks, it's been a busy time at work. So I've seen you behave more the way I do, which is that like very cool and calm on the surface, but like when behind closed, you're like, Jesus Christ, I just need like a minute to calm down. Like, because that's how fast-paced business works. Like, you're not bad at your job. You're just like, oh my God, I just need like 5 minutes. But I've never heard you get hateful. And like literally, and it wasn't even spoken. Like, you wrote to me, I hate this film. It's disgusting. But you haven't seen it. I haven't seen it either. And I was very curious about it because I'll watch anything. But what is it about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey that you're so like angry about?
Do you want to know something? I'll tell you a story. I hadn't really seen much to do with it, and my mum had, and she refused to tell me. She refused to let my brother tell me. She refused to let anyone in my family tell me because she knew that it would ruin my childhood.
Do you care about Winnie the Pooh that much? Wow, interesting. I mean,
Yes.
I'm not like dismissing it. I'm just fascinated because Winnie the Pooh isn't even like. I mean, I don't want to like.
No,
I don't want to get you angry on the podcast, but it's not like a Disney thing. Like, it was something else before Disney owned it. Like,
yeah. So I just, once I'd seen something on social media, I told my mum about it. She was like, oh, I was hoping you wouldn't find out about that. It's horrible. I think, don't watch it, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, okay, well, it's just going to be a horror film. And then I clicked on the image and I was like, these look like the bears or the animatronic figures from Five Nights at Freddy's.
well, there's a cultural difference. Like, I know almost nothing about that game other than like kids liked it. But yeah, like they look like monster people. Like, they're like guys in suits. Yeah.
It's terrifying. And I feel like when you watch Winnie the Pooh, not that I have in a very long time, it's more so just like the character to me now that I sort of like.
Are you Winnie the Pooh? The theme song was like rumbly tumbly climbing a honey tree. Is that your version?
I remember that, but I don't. I'll be honest with you.
I just rocked like maybe the first lyrics I've ever sung on a podcast. And you're like, maybe, but actually, let me dismiss that because that was my Winnie the Pooh. Like, that was the rock and roll version.
I can't really remember. I was shown a lot of different Winnie the Pooh when I was younger. Not a lot of it, I'll be honest with you, I remember. It was more so that it's something that my parents, you know, when you're younger and like everything you sort of get from gifts, like maybe a christening, anything is just sort of like one, it can be Winnie the Pooh. Sometimes it's like Peter Rabbit or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was just my thing, and it still is my thing. I just love Winnie the Pooh. I think, lots of different opinions. All you need to know is that I love Winnie the Pooh. And when I watched some clips of it, I believe on Instagram, and what I gathered from it, and this is why I'll never watch it, is it's about, I don't even think I can really say what it's about. I don't know whether you know what it's about.
I know what it's about. Yeah, I've watched a couple of trailers. Like, I've read the synopsis. Like, it's like, I'm interested. I probably will check it out. I can be your surrogate and watch on your behalf, and I'll report to you back. I'll be like, oh, it was actually really fun. But yeah, my understanding is that like Christopher Robin is all grown up, but he left, and the animals from 100 Acre Wood went insane. Like, that's what it is, and they became like murderous psychopaths.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard. I'd heard that it was more so like Pooh and Piglet.
Yes, like because
Piglet is not
has passed away. I didn't want to upset you, so I used friendly like, oh yeah, he moved on, like he passed on. Yeah.
It's Winnie the Pooh, which looks like the Five Nights at Freddy's bear, and then it's Piglet, which is actually just a pig mask, which is very scary. And then I just remember seeing this one clip of this girl in a hot tub.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to, I'd heard some things, I'd read some comments, and I was like, why would you
I wondered
It's
if that's where you're. I mean, look, we haven't said the word, but I think we're on the same page.
yeah.
My understanding is that is not in the movie, but
Okay.
yeah, it's a very, for those who haven't seen it, like it's a very low budget film. I think it's a pretty fascinating take, and I think like they did this with the Grinch last year as well. There's a movie that came out called The Mean One, and like it's all about
Mhm.
the Grinch, but he's a murderer, starring the guy from Terrifier, which we'll talk about at some point as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, the clip that Samantha's talking about is very suggestive. Like there's a girl in very skimpy bikini. She's in a hot tub, and like she's been modified, I guess, is like the PC way to say it. Like she's an
Mhm.
enhanced woman. No, like not like a robot. Like she's taken liberties of a surgical nature.
Mm.
It's very, very suggestive. And then behind her, like Pooh and Piglet are sneaking up, and they kind of grab at her. But from what I understand, I think they just like tie her up and run her over with a car or something. But like
Oh,
it's
that's so much better. That's so
I
much
mean,
better.
like compared to the other thing, but it is
Yeah.
very suggestive. And like,
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it that way until right because when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that looks very suggestive. I wondered if they go in that really
Mm.
horrible direction, but I hadn't thought about it from like, oh well, like they're my childhood heroes. So for them to do that is so destructive. I hadn't really kind of put it like now that we say that out loud, I'm like, oh, I totally get why you would find that horrible and disgusting, and I don't know why I had to ask the question. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, to me, there is no connection. I don't get it. I don't like it. I think it is a disgusting concept that you would take something that is still so large in a lot of, young people's lives, if that makes sense. You still go to the store, and when you're shopping for a child, everything is still Winnie the Pooh. It's either
Mm.
Winnie the Pooh or Peter Rabbit or something like that. And you've got to make this disgusting film about it. Why?
Where do you stand on something like Bad Santa then?
I don't think I've seen Bad Santa.
I've seen it once. Like it's not like it's like, but I guess like I guess more the concept is like, look, Santa is for children, but that movie is about a Santa Claus who like gets drunk and high and gets laid and stuff like that. And whilst he's not murdering people, like he's a
Mm.
pretty horrible character as well. So I just wondered whether like does it extend beyond Winnie the Pooh? You're like, oh, any other character, I don't care. Like Mickey Mouse can twist Minnie's head off, but Winnie the Pooh, no way. Like,
I think it is just the Winnie the Pooh thing.
mm,
I think that really hits home, That
mm.
really hits hard. So
Because
I've never been.
you compared it to Human Centipede, which you said you'd watched
Yes.
20 minutes of. Which I'll be honest, like Human Centipede's come up on the show before. I
Mm.
grossed out an American guest with a joke about Human Centipede
Oh.
because she watched it and someone brought pizza and I was like, well, at least it wasn't sausages. Yep. That was pretty much the reaction I got as well.
Jesus Christ.
I will say that is the grossest thing I've ever said to Samantha. I normally keep it pretty like chill, but you said you got 20 minutes into it. I've seen the trilogy. I've seen all three. I've seen part two twice, which is the nastiest of the three. Because when I was younger, I was like, "What do you got, cinema? Like, throw the worst stuff at me." So I've seen some
Mm.
horrible, horrible things. But now, as a middle-aged father, I can't do it anymore.
Mm.
But why the comparison? Why are you like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is as bad as Human Centipede, or is it just like the shock factor?
I think it's the shock. I know the Winnie the Pooh thing is because I've always loved Winnie the Pooh.
Mm.
But I think the Human Centipede thing is just that these girls get kidnapped. I have a fear of being kidnapped. Maybe
I
that's
think
it. I'm
all women
scared.
do. Like I don't think that's
Yeah.
like and that's a common thing. Like even my wife's like, I hold my keys, between each finger when I go into a parking garage and stuff. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
I lock my doors the moment I get into my car.
oh, I
The
do too.
moment.
Like, well, actually, my car does it automatically now because I got a cool car. But like when I
Yeah.
didn't have a cool car, I was like, lock windows up, leave me alone, world.
Yep. And I'm glad I did. I know this is again off of topic, but
Oh, I don't know what the audience thinks, but I am digging every second of this. Like, this is exactly what I was hoping for. Like, knowing you come, I'm like, we're going to talk about movies, but we're going to get so distracted.
yep.
Uh, and like, don't think I'm going to be asking about that date later. Like, I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
tell me more about what happened there. Uh,
Yeah.
Excellent. Everyone's like, oh, we get it. Samantha just lasted everything you say. That's why she's a guest. Yes.
You always said this to me. You were like, you always laugh, and then you'd like look at me as if I was gonna laugh again, and I'd be like, hee. I found that so funny. But yeah, something happened to me probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago now, where I was in the city and I went into a store, and I just, you go into a store, you buy some stuff, got in my car, and I was alone. And a man came up to my car and he kept trying to open my door.
Whoa.
He would not leave me alone. He was knocking on the window and he's going, open. And he's just staring at me straight face, looking at me in my eyes, going, open. And I was sat in my car trying to get up the directions to go home. And I just threw my phone on the seat next to me and went, nope, nope.
Yeah. Oh, is this when you went and got the watch? This is when you picked up the watch?
No, it was around that time though. It was around that time, but
I can't believe I haven't heard this. I mean, I'm not like, why haven't you told me every single thing about your life? But at the same time, like, I'm shocked and like, that's so upsetting. That's
it was
really
terrifying.
upsetting. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised you came back to work. I'm surprised you weren't just like, you know what? We had a good run, Australia. I'm going back to the UK. Like,
no, yeah, it just. So yeah, that's why I guess I don't like the human centipede. You know, that they just relating it back to that. They get kidnapped. I'm scared that someone will come into my car. I've been followed before. Like weird stuff has happened to me, and I have a very big fear of that. So I guess seeing that in the human centipede, it's these two like innocent girls that aren't they traveling, and then they. He's
the
like,
car
oh,
breaks down. Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, let me help you.
It's
Hell
so
no.
funny. Like for you, you're like, it's the abduction part of it. For most people, like, it's the poop. Like,
I think it is the abduction part, but it's more so the situation that they're in is scary to me rather than, if it sort of just went straight to the poop part, I'd be like, like whatever. But it's the whole build up to it and the whole situation in which it happened and them in the hospital. Well, I say the hospital beds. I'll say dungeon beds because it's technically a hospital dungeon. But that's terrifying. That's terrifying to watch.
I don't
That's
disagree.
cinema,
Like,
so.
it's it's a film that I remember when it came out. Like, I went to the video store like every day trying to get it because I was a freak. I just wanted to see something weird. It was always rented out. Like, you could not get human. It could be, because it was so controversial. People were like, "Oh my god!" Like, they sew people to each other's butts. Like, we're gonna see this movie. And I remember I hired it. My brother, he would have been. Human Centipede's 2009, so I would have been 21. Oh, I would have been your age. I was like a young Samantha. I was like, well, I can't wait to go pick up Human Centipede. And my brother was 18, and I put it on, and he came in like half an hour, and he goes, how is it? Because my brother's not a huge movie guy, but he will watch some stuff. I remember he recommended a movie for me once called The Strangers, which ended up being one of the scariest films I've ever seen. I was like, that was a top-notch recommendation. Brother of mine, well done. But he came, he's like, how is it? I'm like, you know what? Like, it's fine. I'm waiting for it to become like really difficult to watch. And I just never found it. Like, I found it was a lot more, it was a lot of, the marketing was very good for that film. Like, it's a film that it doesn't actually show too much. Like the second one, holy Christ. Like, I've seen that one twice because I watched it once in 3 sittings. And then I had a friend who was like, I really want to see it, but I don't want to watch it alone. I was like, well, I'll watch it with you, but I'd rather not. And like the second one is full on. Like, there's just horrible. Like, I can't recommend it to anyone. Like, it's just so nasty. And it's probably not the nastiest film out there, but it's pretty full on. But I remember I was like, oh, that one's up. But the first one is pretty like, it's the idea is gross, but you don't see too much. It's pretty like, it's more in the in kind of the build up and the anticipation, and then the payoff is kind of like, it's fine. That being said, like, no one needs to see it.
I think it's concepts behind these movies. I don't understand is this bad to say, who sort of sits there and goes, you know what I think would be a killer idea for a movie?
Do you not know the story behind Human Centipede?
No, there's a story.
Yeah. So the director Tom Six, and we will get to your list sometime in the next week. Tom Six was sitting around with buddies, and they were like kind of joking around, and one of his, I don't know if it was him or one of his friends, but he was like, "Do you know what would be a really great way to punish pedophiles? Like if you sewed them together like butt to mouth." And then like Tom Six was like, "Well, actually, that's a really good idea for a movie." Like that's well, and he was like to it the back of a trucker, like a big, like overweight trucker, and that's why the opening scene of that film is a trucker getting abducted because that's what inspired the story. But then they were like, you know what markets like sexy women in little to no clothing, so we'll sew them together. Which I was like, that's not sexy at all.
No.
Like I very rarely watch a film. I'm like, oh, that's sexy, but like Human Centipede, I was really like, that is the antithesis of sexy. Like,
Yeah. It just doesn't like I think the original story behind it would have been a better idea than having women, like I understand that, you know, like sex sells and whatever, but that's not
yeah.
not everyone is going to be watching that movie anyways. So at least if you sort of gave it like a bit of a oh well it's just why? Like why people that didn't do anything wrong?
I was waiting. I was like thinking about her. I'm like, she's so well spoken, like she's so articulate. She speaks about movies beautifully, and you're like, and I guess the real thing is just why.
Sometimes I can't bring myself to say the words. I just think why?
Yeah.
Why do that? It doesn't make sense, but
So then, is it like, and I'm so distracted, but that's fine. Like, so to circle back to, I guess the beginning of the Human Centipede conversation, and I think we've left Winnie the Pooh behind. I understand now. I get,
yeah.
and when I said it out loud, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense. I had to have the conversation. And we've had multiple chances to talk about it before tonight, but I was like, no, I'm saving for the podcast because it's movie specific. Let's talk about it. And then I was like, oh, I'm a moron. Like I just had to say it out loud, and I would have understood. You just got very tall. So like with the Human Centipede, obviously you said that the scariest thing for you is not the poop of it all, but the abduction stuff. So does that rule out pretty much any horror film where someone gets kidnapped, or are you like, no, like
No,
okay,
I'll watch it. Yeah.
yeah. It's just the concept of being a woman who's abducted and then turned into a human centipede.
I think it's the guy as well. I don't know what his name is in
Dr.
the
Heiter,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dieter Laser. He passed away recently, but like had a very like German name. Like,
Yeah, but he also abducted people and sewed them together and made them eat their poop. That's gross.
oh, that's so funny. Um, let's change subject. People are like, oh my god, like he doesn't even like the movie, and he's talked about Human Centipede for 20 minutes. Let's get into your list. I'm very excited. I've heard
Okay.
a top 5 of yours before, so I don't know whether I'm going to hear the same 5 or 5 different ones. Either way, I'm going to be thrilled. I guarantee there'll be a couple on your list that I can definitely talk about, but I'm also keen to be surprised. But like, as I've mentioned a couple of times, like I know you the least out of almost the least out of everyone I've interviewed previously, with the exception of my American guests and a couple of people. But most people I've known for years and years and years, so I can kind of predict what's going to be on their list. I got no idea. I don't know what's going to come on your list. So,
Yeah.
so I'm very excited. I love the not knowing, because I'm just like, oh my god, we're going to talk about movies. I like it's gonna be a curve. Like it's either going to be very very basic, or just like stuff I'm not expecting. So this is my favorite thing to do. So Samantha, what is number 5 on your list?
Number 5. Okay, this may seem strange. Number 5 being the bottom.
Yes.
You work your way to the top?
Yeah. I mean, look, you can put it like it doesn't. If you're like, look, they're all equally number 1. Like it's just however you want to order them. But I normally go like kind of 5 being the lowest, 1 being the greatest. Like we build up to your ultimate film. But
Okay. I have a top 5, but there's definitely ones that sort of, I don't know, fluctuate, I guess.
of course, absolutely. Like when I did mine, I didn't go 5 to 1. But like, this is my least favorite. This is my top. I said, look, I love all these films. I watch them all every year. There's probably like a distinct 1 and 2 for me, but like the rest are all pretty interchangeable. As I said to you before the show and on the show, there's no rules. Like this is just we're just talking about movies. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 5.
She's overthinking it so much.
I know, this is so difficult for me. And number 5, I'll be honest with you, is tied between Don't laugh at me. Come on. Let me say this. All right. It's tied between 6 movies.
Wait, how many do you have in your list?
You asked me to get a list.
I said your top 5. Do you have like 30 movies?
No, I wish. I have my top 5, but the 5th one, I can't decide which one of the. Okay, no, actually, I probably can.
I love it. I
Okay.
love that your number 5 is 6 movies.
Okay.
Go for it. That's
All right.
amazing.
So my number 5 is tied between The Gentleman.
Yes, I've seen that one. That was a recommendation from you.
Don't Breathe.
Okay, we're gonna have to like talk about this one by one. Holy crap! I mean, you said you don't like The Human Centipede, but Don't Breathe, like Jesus, like abduction and some human centipede-like behavior. But we'll get to it. Okay.
No poop though. No.
I mean, I would argue worse. Well, maybe not worse. Like that turkey-based arrested. Anyway.
Oh no! Don't no.
It's one of your top 5 favorite films, bro. Like you got to talk about. Okay, next film, and we'll go through them one by one.
Okay, White Chicks.
Not a film I was expecting.
I love that movie.
I've seen it once. I watched it with my mother and with my very young sister at the time. She would have been, I think White Chicks was 2008, if I remember. So I would have been 20, which would have made my sister 15. And my mum decided to explain to her what a sex toy was during that scene.
Oh no!
And I was like, "Oh, this is a conversation I do not want to be a part of." But thanks for making that a public discussion. Like she didn't go into gratuitous detail. She was like, "And this is what it's used for." Like she wasn't like that. But she was. Okay, so now that's the most disgusting joke I've said to Samantha. We have to work together tomorrow.
Oh goodness!
I forgot where I was for a second. All right, so
yeah, White Chicks.
Yep, White Chicks.
Hereditary.
Wow! Holy Christ! Okay, well, I talked about. Yeah, we'll get to it. Okay, yep.
Creed. All of the Creed franchise. I want to see the new one in cinema soon.
I have not seen any of the Creed films, so you'll be able to give me some lecturing. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, is that all of your number 5?
Now you see me. Now you see me. That's my number 5.
Okay. Okay. Samantha's number 5 film of all time is The Gentleman, Don't Breathe, White Chicks, Hereditary, Creed, and Now You See Me. I wasn't lying when I said it was going to be a long episode. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, like, I love it. This is so good.
You know, I just realized that that's just like 2 top 5s. I've just made 2 top 5 lists.
What's your top 5 favorite films? Well, there's 10 of them. Oh, my cheeks hurt from laughing. And I'm trying not to laugh too loud because my daughter's asleep in the next room, so I'm really trying to
Oh dear.
Okay, let's go through them. The Gentleman. Great flick. I would have got around to it eventually. Maddie, who's been on the show before, she recommended it to me, but when I got a very bold recommendation from you one day at work, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to give it a go. And I remember I sent you a text. I just sent you a text of like the screenshot from Netflix, and you were like, yes, tell me what you think of it. Great flick.
Yeah.
This is your list, so tell me about. Like, I'll let you drive the car. You're like, oh, I'll sit back and have a drink. No, like this is your movie to talk about.
Okay, The Gentleman. I saw this movie in the cinema during lockdown.
Your cinemas were open in lockdown? I'm so jealous.
Yeah, you know what? It sort of got to a point where like it just wasn't lockdown anymore. But yeah, so watched it during lockdown in the cinema with my friends, and I love a movie, as we've discussed, that has so many different things going on. So all the characters have very different, separate, stories. There's so much going on. So that really stood out to me, and that's why I would probably make that number 5 if I had to make one number 5. Just one of them. Um, let me yes,
While you're
sorry.
looking it up, I'll say
Yeah.
because I gave you like a pretty descriptive breakdown of it. Wasn't a flick. I said I was going to watch it. I wasn't expecting much from it because I
Mm,
don't mind. I don't mind Guy Ritchie. I prefer Matthew Vaughn. So Matthew Vaughn used to produce Guy Ritchie's films in
mhm,
the like 90s and 2000s, and then he was like, I'm going to make my own film, and he made The Kingsman and X-Men First Class and Kick-Ass, and like he became a director of his own, and really wonderful director. But I like the early Guy Ritchie stuff. But then he kind of just did a couple of films and like not bad films, just weren't for me.
mhm.
But Gentleman was like a true return to form. I was like, this feels like Lock Stock. This feels like Snatch. Um, Great supporting cast. Like I said to you, like nothing against Matthew McConaughey. He's great. He is the least interesting part of that film. Like Charlie
He
Hunnam gives
is.
a career best performance. Like I've never been the world's biggest Charlie Hunnam fan, but boy is he entertaining as like the right hand man.
Mm,
Um,
he is.
Hugh Grant doing, I would say, the most interesting performance of his career, and he was in Paddington too. Um,
Yeah.
he was the villain in that. He was great in that, but like just such a weird performance. Colin Farrell is awesome. Like the scene where he shows up in like the takeaway shop is so good.
I love him. It's Colin Farrell and, um why have I forgotten his name?
Oh
Colin
no,
Farrell and hang on. I forgot Hugh Grant's name a minute ago, so I had to look
that's
up
okay. I'm an
his name.
encyclopedia, so.
Um, Eddie is it Eddie Marsan
Oh
as
yes.
Big Dave?
Oh, I love Eddie Marsan. So Eddie Marsan
Love
is
that.
brilliant. Like he's
Mhm,
an actor I never hear anyone talk about. Him and Paddy Considine are like two British actors that show up in a lot of things together. They were in The World's End together, and Eddie Marsan in The World's End is just adorable, like so lovely. But
mhm,
he just shows up like he was in The Disappearance of Alice Creed, which is,
mhm.
spoiler alert, an abduction film. So you might like it's about like two guys that abduct a pretty girl, but he's just so fun to watch. He had a very
Mm,
unfortunate thing happen to him in this film,
yeah,
a very Black Mirror thing,
yeah,
but was great in it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's beautiful film. I loved it. Like I said, just because so much was going on. I know a few things that I did mention to you though was that, as much as I loved, um my god, my memory is so bad. I'm so
she's
sorry.
never coming back on the show, guys.
I know, I'm
No, I'm just
appalling,
kidding.
hey.
You can come back every week because I'm having so much fun. What's your top
So,
five this week, Samantha? Well, there's 20 films. Okay, good.
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, that's what I
I
mentioned him at the start. Yeah,
loved his performance. He's I feel like he's the main character. He
yes,
feels like the main character.
I agree.
But then so does Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant sort of plays a massive part in it as well, you know? Like it just the part of Charlie Hunnam that I didn't or the part of Raymond Smith that I didn't really like, I did find it quite cringy, was when they were under the bridge. Aslan has just been pushed out of the window.
I remember I sent you a message, poor Aslan.
Yeah. And, before he pulls out the gun, he starts swearing and, he's talking about them being roadmen and all of this. I think the swearing in that movie is beautiful. It is top notch, but
That's something
just,
we were bonding over. Where I was like, I'm a big fan of cursing. I feel like cursing can be very lazy. Like people will just throw in
yeah,
curse words to accentuate. But like I was watching the general, I'm like, man, they like they're using every swear word and in such like a wonderfully delicious way. Where I'm like, it's so well crafted. Um,
yeah.
and then you message me like, yeah, but that bridge scene, and I was like, I mean, like,
It's just too much. I know most of them are English, they're British. Or, there's a little bit of Irish in there,
Mm.
a little bit of American. I know how British people swear because my family's going to hate me saying this, but they all did. They still do. They always, sort of will. Like growing up, they always have. And it just didn't come across as like very natural. It
Mm.
just felt very forced, and I sort of sat there and I just found it very cringy. I was like, "Oh, shut up, like, too much." Too much, but definitely, yeah, the scene, with Big Dave and Colin Farrell and the pig. Poor pig.
Colin Farrell like steals every scene he's in. Like he's never been bad. Like even in some of his earlier stuff, like I know people didn't love him in Daredevil. I adore that Daredevil. I think it's very underrated. But everything he's just so magnetic. I just feel like he's getting better. Like every time I see Colin Farrell, I'm like, wow, I didn't know he had this trick up his sleeve. But like, look what he's
Mm,
doing now. Like he's just so fun to watch, so interesting to watch. And yeah, it was the perfect role for it. It was so good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a great flick. And that was a solid. I remember I said to you, I'm like, if I don't like this film, I might have to talk about whether we recommend you to keep working with us or not.
Yeah, I found that funny, but then I know
You said a very
I
serious emoji back to me. I was like, oh no, did I upset her? Because that was definitely a joke. Like
I remember I did reply, and then you'd sent me another message going, "Just joking, by the way." Just in case, but
that was before I realized that you have like a 3 to 5 business day turnaround on text messages.
I do, I really do. I don't go on social media, I don't go on my phone. I find it very difficult to keep up a communication, a friendship, or a social life, I should say, over text. If I can talk to you, in person or face to face, beautiful. But
I
like,
remember you were like, I just people can
yeah.
just call me. I'm like, I'm never calling you. That's so weird. It's like although I did come very close to calling the other day, actually. I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about that off the mic. But I was
Mhm.
like, maybe I'll call Samantha. I need to talk to someone about something. And I know she doesn't take messages, but she will answer the phone. But I think you were out partying, so you wouldn't have answered anyway.
Mm,
You've been
you
like,
know
don't bring me
me.
down,
Woo
man. All
woo.
right. So your next number 5 is Don't Breathe, which I love.
Mm,
Don't Breathe is such a great flick. Directed by Fede Alvarez, I think it is, and he did the Evil Dead remake, which is creepy,
mhm,
really, really scary stuff. Um, home invasion film gone wrong, which I love. Not super violent, if I remember correctly. A little bit of violence, there's a little bit of gunplay and stuff. But for
mm,
those who don't know, basically 3 burglars, I guess they're kind of burglars, are trying to get out of a really low income town and try and start a new life
mhm.
somewhere else. And they break into a guy's house and he's blind, but he's also like ex-military, so he's got like reflexes and stuff, and he
Yeah.
starts hunting them. Um, it's like a creepy film. It's like a good like suspense film. It's I dare say it's fun. Like there are moments I'm like, this is really fun. I'm really digging this. And
Yeah.
then like in the third act, really gross.
Yeah, like, just the biggest twist, it was such a shocking movie, again, very is stimulating the right word?
I would say, yeah.
You watch a movie and it is so exciting, there is so much happening, but then there's more, and you're like,
Yeah.
as if this has changed again, like, there's another twist, and that's what I really liked about it, and it wasn't so much a twist that, ended within the last 10 minutes of the film. You
No,
still
it
had
keeps going.
Yeah, you still had a big chunk of the film to watch this twist unravel, and I was like, "I love this. I love it. I hate the situation, gross, but love the build up."
So yeah, so we can talk about it a little bit because it's an older film. I feel like saying Don't Breathe. Like you had a whole pandemic to watch all of Netflix.
Mhm.
Not all of you are like me. I remember I was watching the film and my wife had seen the trailer and she doesn't like horror films at all. But she saw that trailer. She's like, "You should watch the trailer for Don't Breathe. It looks really cool. I think you'd like it." She's, "I think I might like it as well." I was like, "All right, I'll check it out and I'll let you know." And I was watching it. I'm like, "She is gonna love this." Turkey baster scene. I was like, "Nope. All right, we can't watch that one now." Like,
Mm-mm.
but basically, what the spoilers or the twist is that this guy who seems like an innocent guy who's getting robbed and mugged and stuff like that, like just abducts women and tries to get them pregnant because he wants a child. And then when I think they kill her or she kills herself or something, or she escapes, or something, I can't remember what it was exactly. But he's like, "I've lost my child, so now I need another one." That he tries to kidnap the girl who's broken into his house. So dark.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
speaking of dark, your room has just become like pitch black.
I know, I've been contemplating, does this does this mic cord stretch long enough for me to be able to get up and turn the light on?
Oh, go do it. I can vamp while you do that. Samantha's just going for a quick walk to go put the lights on in her room. She's very tall, so she doesn't need to go too far.
I can't.
Oh, that
I got
was
it. I got it.
legit genius. This is not a video podcast, but
Oh, dearie me.
without embarrassing you too much, what happened was hilarious.
I was playing a game of Twister with my my mic cord. My headset cord.
I gotta hit you on my fan. It's so warm here. I don't know if it's still warm over there in good old WA, but it is.
Yeah, and I can't get up to reach my fanny.
Well, do you want to play another game of Twister? I'll vamp a bit longer.
I can't keep the headset on. I have to take it off.
Oh, you can do that. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm leaving it in. All right, she's taking her headset off and she's going to go turn her fan on. Don't Breathe is brilliant. Like, it's so messed up. It's so dark. But if you like horror films, I think we've talked about it on the show before. It's definitely one worth checking out. I'm shocked that it's on Samantha's list because I didn't know she was into gross stuff like that. But there we go. I think she's left the show. I don't think she's coming back. There we go. She's back now. I was just vamping on Don't Breathe, and I said she's been gone a while. I don't think she's coming back. And I talked about how gross Don't Breathe is and how shocked I am it's on your list because it is really gross. But I do have. Oh, is my headphones going to stretch? People are like, oh my god, stop talking about your headphones and talk about movies. Like, I can show you. That was an old man sound of me trying to move my human body. That's Donnie Darko. There you go. Definitely one that I keep on the shelf. Love Don't Breathe. It's a great flick. Jane Levy is fantastic. Stephen Lang as the blind man, I can't remember his name, is excellent. Like, intimidating, but like also such a like heartbreaking, like sympathetic character because his whole life, like prior to the event of this, was destroyed, and he's trying to get something back, and he's going the wrong way about it. But like, it's a very heartbreaking story. Did you end up checking out the sequel?
No, I haven't. I don't.
It is fine.
Maybe I did. I heard of it. I don't know whether I ever got round to watching it. I'm gonna say no.
It's not Don't Breathe. Like, it's
like,
it's not a bad film, but like, I guess the biggest twist is he's the hero of the film, which is interesting. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's fine. I never talk negatively about films. I try not to, but it didn't quite work for me. But it's,
yeah.
If you want to see the ongoing story, you can check it out. Alrighty. Your next number 5 is White Chicks. Now, I haven't seen this flick since it came out on VHS and DVD. I do remember it's a Wayans Brothers film, and I used to love the scary movie films. I know it's got Terry Crews in it, who's brilliant. I know you're a big Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan, so I wondered whether that was the connection.
No, actually, not at all. I don't know how I got shown White Chicks, but I just find it so funny. The Wayans Brothers are just so... It's the type of movie you can sit back and just go, ha ha ha. You know what I mean? You don't have to... It's not, like exciting and like, ooh, wow, sound effects are going off right now, but it's not like that. You can just sit and watch it and it just provides you a good laugh, I feel like.
I haven't seen it since it came out, so I'm definitely due for a rewatch. Because the Wayans Brothers, I agree, are genius, very, very funny. But after a while, like, their brand of comedy kept getting imitated and less of the Wayans Brothers were involved to the point, and that's when we got to things like Epic Movie, which was that movie on that date that didn't go well. I mean, the date went well as much as we stayed together for another month, but the film itself was awful. So like, I've been like hesitant to go back to Wayans Brothers films. I'm like, is it going to hold up as well? Is it going to be what I remember? Like, Scary Movie 1 and 2 age okay. Like, they don't age particularly well, but like, there are a couple of things that still work. And like, it's just because like a lot of the humor is just a product of the early 2000s, which you just can't get away with now.
Yeah, definitely.
But White Chicks, yeah, I would give it another go. But I agree with you. Like, it's nice to have, like, I recommended to you. One of the first things I recommended to you was Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, which I believe you still haven't finished, which is fine.
I technically did finish it. I just fell asleep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Technically, you finished that date you were on. You just fell asleep. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it was a pretty good date. Like, I fell asleep, but and I love Popstar, and it's a film for me that grows. Like, it gets better each watch. Like, the first time, I'm like, oh yeah, it's pretty good, and then I'm like, oh, actually, that song was catchy. I like that. And then, like, each watch, like, good comedy shouldn't ask too much of its audience. So I don't mind a comedy that makes me think and engage, but if I can put it on and just like zone out for 2 hours and just laugh, like, that's perfect for me. And that's what White Chicks feels like. As I said, I haven't watched it in a long time. The biggest thing I remember from that is, Terry Crews enjoying a black man's butt because he thinks he's a girl.
Yep.
And everyone comparing the White Chicks to Iggy Azalea when she first became famous. And that's about all I know.
Oh my goodness. I haven't even considered that, but I think Iggy Azalea is a beautiful woman, but that is very funny.
I'm not anti Iggy Azalea. I think she's gorgeous. I think she's a good looking woman. But when people start bringing that up, I'm like, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think the genius thing about White Chicks is that, like, for the first, maybe not the first time, but the first time in modern entertainment that I was aware of, someone was like, hey, we're going to do whiteface. Like, we're going to reverse it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, I sort of sat there and I thought, you know what? I love this movie, but is that okay? And I was like, it's still funny.
Is okay? Yeah, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on because
right.
it's getting controversial. Next movie.
Hereditary.
Holy Christ. Okay. Tell me about, I mean, I've talked about Hereditary quite a bit on this show. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, and then I'll tell you my Hereditary stories.
One of my best friends hyped this movie up so much.
I think I know this person you're talking about.
Yeah. He would not stop talking about it. So one day I sat down and I watched it. I won't lie, I didn't like it at first. I thought, what is this? This is very extreme. It felt like I was watching like a night terror. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The word I use to describe Hereditary is bleak. Like, it's not scary, but I was just like, oh my God, like, can someone love someone in this movie, please?
Yeah. It's very, not confronting, but it's very just shocking. But it's not even shocking. I feel like it's all about that. The head puffing off, pretty much. That's what people sort of go on about. That's like very much like, oh my goodness, where, why, how did this come from this boy going to a party? But yeah, I don't know. After that, it just took a complete twist. It sort of turned into almost like a paranormally cult type movie. I was like, what is going on here?
So I've spoken to a lot of people about this film, especially when it first came out, and people didn't like the ending. Like, it's so ridiculous. I was like, yeah, like, that film needed it. Like, if it maintained that tone for the rest of the film, I would have probably just, like, given up on life. Like, it needed to go crazy out the window because when it happened, I was giggling, like, in the cinema, and not like, hee, it's so fun. I was just like, oh, thank you. Like, thank you for doing something so ridiculously stupid just to give me a break, because this has been an endurance test. Hereditary to me is the scariest film I've ever seen. Like, I don't. Like, I did a thing on horror movies back in Halloween, in October last year for Halloween, and I talked about, of all the films I've seen, this is the one that scared me the most. In 2017, I think it was 2017, I made the decision to stop watching movie trailers. I still watch some from time to time, especially superhero stuff, because I'm just like, I just need to know what they're going to do. But like horror movies, I'm like, they give too much away, so I don't want to watch any trailers. The first film I saw without watching a trailer, Hereditary. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and I'm sitting there in the cinema, pretty much empty, in the dark, and like, it's unsettling, and like that opening, like the opening 10 minutes, just like that pan in and like just kind of the high pitched whining. So this is really like messing with me. And then the girl is, I would say, the creepiest looking child I've seen in my life.
Mm.
And then the head thing happens. And the thing about Ari Aster, the director of Hereditary, he also directed another movie. Well, it's only one of the movies he's made so far. He's got a new one coming out next month, which I think might be on your list, but don't confirm yet. But I know we've talked about the other one, which I love. I think it's a lot better than Hereditary. I think it's way more rewatchable.
Yeah.
I've seen Hereditary once. I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Even though it's one of my top 5, me too. I won't, I watched it twice or 3 times, which I know seems like a lot, but it's not something I would sit down and rewatch.
Especially as a parent now. Like before I probably could have, but now as a parent of a daughter, no way. But when that scene happens, like they don't show you. They just sit on the brother's face for like 5 minutes and just let you deal with what's happened. And then the most brilliant piece of editing, and what should have won Toni Collette an Oscar, like the fact that she wasn't even nominated is ridiculous, is he goes to bed as if nothing's happened, and then they keep the camera on him, and you just hear everyone's reaction to what's happened. And it is a scream that goes through like 4 different scenes, and it is gut-wrenching and upsetting. And I said to you before, I was like, why can't anyone love each other? It's a film devoid of joy, devoid of happiness. Like it doesn't give people, like, this family would have survived everything if they were just nice to each other. Like that's what's so upsetting about that film. If they'd just forgiven each other and just given each other a bit of support, nothing terrible would have happened. But like they pushed each other away, and I was just like, this is such a film without hope. It's so bleak. And then, so I came out of the cinema. I'm pretty shaken by, like, I don't get shaken by a lot of things. Like, as I said, like Human Centipede 3 times, whatever. Seen a lot of dark stuff, but Hereditary like sat with me. So I came home like, you know what, I'm gonna take my dogs for a walk. I just need to get some fresh air, and then I'll be able to kind of clear my head, and then I'll be able to process the movie and move on. Going for a walk. This is when I lived back in Lilydale, which is a small town near the Yarra Valley. I'm walking my dogs, and we're getting to the top of like the hill where we live, and one of my dogs, Loki, starts sniffing at the curb. I'm like, oh, what have you, what's that? What have you found? Like, I just figured it was like food or something. Headless pigeon.
Oh, stop.
And I was like, oh, okay, so I'm dying tonight. And then, like, I'm not even making it up. I was like, you're kidding me. And then I went out for dinner that night for my mum's birthday. She was like, you okay? I'm like, I just saw a film that really messed me up. And she's like, oh my goodness, you okay? Because I never react that way to movies. I'm like, and then the bird near my house. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, never mind. It's probably fine. That movie does have another of my favorite edits. So obviously the editing through mum screaming for 4 scenes, but then the other one is when he thinks he sees his sister and the basketball rolls down. Both hilarious and terrifying.
Yeah, that gave me shivers because I just remembered it. It gave me
I was doing that for ages, like, but like no one got it because no one had seen the movie except for me. Terrifying. All right, your next number 5 is Creed, which I haven't seen. It's on my list. It's been on my list for a long time. Love the idea of it. Love Michael B. Jordan. You have to take me through this one. I know it's a sequel, like a spin-off of Rocky, but that's about it.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you sort of like what happens?
You tell me what you want to tell me. You can give me a synopsis. You can just tell me what you like about it. Like, there's no rules.
Okay, so Michael B. Jordan as
Adonis Creed.
Adonis Creed. I was about to say Donatella Creed.
I mean, that's the mashup I want. Like, just Rocky fighting the Ninja Turtles. Like, that's what I want now.
He grows up in a group home. His father, who is Apollo Creed, his original wife, because Apollo Creed had an affair on his original wife with Creed's, like they call him Donnie in the movie.
That's why he was Donatello. Okay.
Yeah, with Donnie's mum, who died. Dad died as well. So he's basically got no family. Anywho, wife takes, I forgot her name.
Tessa Thompson?
No, Tessa Thompson is his wife.
Wait, is his wife or?
No, not in. Isn't Tessa Thompson is the woman that lives in his apartment complex?
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna fill the blanks. You're like, I don't know her name. I'm like, well, I know Tessa Thompson's in it.
Okay.
I know it sounds like I've said, like, he'll like, shut up. You said you haven't watched it. Stop answering questions for her. I apologize.
No, it's fine. So grows up, quits his finance job. Now he's Michael B. Jordan, most beautiful human being I have ever seen, by the way.
I'm learning a lot tonight.
And then wants to fight like his dad, moves out from his mum's house. They call her mum, but you know who she is. Stepmom sort of thing. Yeah, she doesn't approve of it. He goes and finds Rocky. Rocky has his own restaurant, which I found quite interesting. It was like an Italian spaghetti restaurant.
That's what he did with all the meat he was punching in the first movie. Like, it was tender enough to serve as meatballs.
Yeah. Rocky takes a lot of convincing, ends up training him. He meets Tessa in his, I say Tessa Thompson. I can't remember her name in the movie. I told you my memory's bad. I'll never be able to remember anything. They end up getting together. They're together. He wins fights, loses fights, etc., etc. And then second movie is, oh yeah, in the first movie, Rocky gets cancer. So really
I mean,
sad.
there's a big part of the trailer, and people are like, he's gonna die, and they're like,
Doesn't die.
And well, yeah, because he's in the sequel, and they're like, I remember people like, he's gonna die, and Sylvester Stallone's gonna win an Oscar, and I don't think either of those. Well, I know he didn't die in the movie, and I'm pretty sure he didn't get an Oscar either, which is a bit disappointing. But it is what it is.
But yeah, so then Rocky ends up getting better, and then it's more about family. Johnny and whatever her name is.
Thompson, like, she's not really important. Like the wife.
They have a baby. She starts losing her hearing, and then he proposes to her. All this other stuff happens that's more related to the first movie. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because I like to talk and I will talk forever. The reason I like that movie is because it just always seemed very, and this is the worst explanation I will ever give about a movie, it was so cool. That's it.
No, I don't think that's a bad description, because I remember in 2017, maybe that was when Creed came out. It might have been around the same time. Creed was like 2016, 2017, I think.
Yeah.
I remember when I was doing my top 5 favorite films 2017. My memory is very good. And Logan was my number 1 favorite film all time, but in my top 5, I think, was Baby Driver. And people were like, really? Like, I mean, it was fine. What was about Baby Driver? I'm like, no. Baby Driver was cool.
Right.
That was a cool movie. Like, cool soundtrack, cool character, cool cars, cool girl. Like, everything about it was just cool, man. Like, so, like, I get it. Like, it's okay. It's like some of those things are just cool. So I get it.
Yeah. It's the same with Now You See Me as well. It was just such a cool concept. It was a cool movie. I found it so, let's be completely real here. Stuff like that, magic, it's not real.
What?
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no.
James is shaking his head.
It's like a lovely little bit of visual acting. Maybe the best performance of my life, and no one understands what I'm doing because it's not a visual medium. But
I just found it so cool. Magic isn't real, and that was just so cool to me. So
that was a good segue, because I haven't seen Now You See Me either. I've seen Now You See Me 2.
You have to watch the first one to get the second one.
Yeah, I figured that out while watching it. But because my wife's a big Daniel Radcliffe fan, she's a huge Harry Potter fan. So I was like, she's like, do you want to watch Now You See Me 2 with me? I was like, first of all, why did they call it Now You Don't? And second of all, sure.
Yes. Yes.
I've made that joke to you before. And it was about as funny this time as it was last time. But there we go. But like, yeah, I thought it was fine. Like, Woody Harrelson's doing some weird things in that sequel, but he's entertaining. It was, and Lizzie Kaplan, and who's the other guy in it? I can't remember.
Dave.
The Four Horsemen, man. They're the Four Horsemen.
What's his name? Dave something?
Dave Franco?
Dave Franco. And then is it Michael Gray Goobler or something? Michael Gray.
Jesse Eisenberg's in it.
Mark
Ruffalo. Mark Google Gaggle. He's the Hulk, man.
Jesse Eisenberg. That's who I meant.
Isla Fisher. Yeah, that's right. Lizzie Kaplan's in the second one, but Isla Fisher's in the first one. And Melanie Laurent, who I adore. Melanie Laurent is stunning, and she is Shoshana in Inglourious Bastards. She's fantastic. I watched Inglourious Bastards like a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like, this film is perfect. And she is perfect, and I am not worthy to watch this film. It's too good for humans.
Yeah, she is beautiful. I watched Inglourious Bastards a couple months back. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Solid review.
Yeah, thank you. No, Oh yeah, I won't get into it. All right, let's get this top 5.
Okay, so that
10.
was 5. Okay, what's number 4?
Midsommar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was so that day where I gave the list. I'm like, hey, everyone, give me top 5 list. I actually gave you guys a hint. Well, not a hint, but I was like, I'll help you out. These are my 5 favorite films of all time: Clerks, Back to the Future, Kill Bill 1 and 2. They're both one film. Don't question it. Hot Fuzz and Midsommar. And then I came back an hour or so later, and you listed Midsommar. I was like, this girl is clever for one of 2 reasons. Either she heard me say it, and she's like, I'm going to say it, and that's going to impress him, or she genuinely likes it, and that makes it so much better. And I didn't think you were sucking up to me. Like, that's clearly a joke. Like, it'd be a weird suck up. Be like, oh, I like Midsommar too. Because then you'd have to prove it, because I'd be like, all right, well, tell me everything you love about it. And ironically, now I am saying, please tell me everything you love about it.
Yeah, no, I went and saw this one. I know, you know what's ironic is before I said, oh, I don't really watch a lot of movies in the cinema. I watched this one in the cinema as well.
I didn't get to see it. I wanted to see it in cinema so bad, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I saw it like digitally, which is the 2.5 hour theatrical cut. On physical media, you only get the 3-hour version, and it is worth it.
That's good. Yeah, I watched it at a very small cinema, and it's more so in Perth, we have a lot of old-fashioned cinemas where they're not cinemas, if that makes sense.
So jealous.
They're literally just like rows. It's more like a theater rather than a cinema. It's like a theater layout, but it's a small room.
Oh, I love that so much.
But there's the big screen, and it's so good.
I mean, like, you're just I'm moving to Perth. That's it. Like, that's like, I love that. Like, don't get me wrong, I love going to my local like theater chain, but like, put me in a room with like old school seating, like tiered seating, give me like the brass rails, give me curtains, like
Yeah.
I love it. Like, that's what I told you the other day. I know we did talk about it a little bit. I was like, my dream is to like just open a little movie house. Like, it doesn't like 4 screens. I can just show any movie I want, and like, just that's what I want to do, and that's what I would do with it. Just like do totally old school. That sentence made me so happy. I was like, that's so good.
Yeah, you have to be over 18 to go there. I was on the brink.
I was going to say Midsommar was 2019, and like I did the maths before. I don't think you would have been 18.
No, I was on the brink when I went and saw it. Brink of 18. But they didn't ask me for ID, so I mean, I just went in.
You are tall, so you probably got away with it because you're high. But like, yeah, like they're all looking up at you. They're like, yeah, she'll beat us up. Let's let her in.
But yeah, I went and saw it. It was really, really good, and the atmosphere in the cinema was amazing as well, because in a cinema, I feel like generally a lot of people don't really say anything. They don't have expressions. Just in like a general, I don't know what sort of cinemas you have over in Melbourne, but we have like Grand Cinema, Hoyts,
we got Hoyts, we got
cinema.
Village, we got Reading. I don't know if you got Reading, but Reading is the closest to an old school cinema. Like, they do things a little bit differently. And then we've got but they've got really snooty ones. So like, we've got the Nova, which is like an independent theater. We've got the Astor, which is kind of what you're talking about, where it's like one of the oldest cinemas in the state. And like, I went and saw The Hateful Eight there, the Quentin Tarantino film. And they did it the full 3-hour cut with the intermission, and you got like a program booklet. Like, it was just like all. I've still got it lying around somewhere. Like, it was just like a piece of A4. Like, it wasn't like, but like, they went to the effort of printing something up and stuff. Very, very cool. And they do double features. Like they did recently in the last year, they did Kill Bill 1 and 2 on the big screen. I was like, damn, I would have loved to have seen that.
That's cool.
Next Monday, actually, Kill Bill 1 and 2 is playing in Village Cinemas for the 60th birthday of Quentin Tarantino and the 10th anniversary of Kill Bill. But I won't get to go and see it because the way my life is at the moment. But I'm like, oh my God, like finally, both films back to back, 4.5 hours. Yes, please.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the Astor does a lot of that sort of stuff. They do like the Back to the Future trilogy. They'll do all that kind of stuff. Then we've got the Moonlight Cinema, which is the outdoor cinema in the Botanical Gardens. So we've got lots of cool cinemas. Very trendy here in Melbourne. But I will 9 times out of 10 just go to my local theater, like just the chain. Like But you make, I mean, I like Perth. Like I've told you this before. I've been to Perth a few times. I love it, but you're really selling me on Perth.
Yeah, it's such a great place. I love it. But all right, the atmosphere in this cinema.
Yes,
everyone
Midsommar.
was like,
sorry, I was like, where are we again?
No. Everyone was like, oh, at different scenes, you could hear everyone. There was some scenes where they weren't intended to be funny. For example, the scene where, after there's the whole the blood thing, the hair and the pie and all of that jazz, and it's the scene in the hut, or the little house thingy, the noises that all the women are making.
When the old women are like pushing him? Like, oh, I wasn't going to mention the scene, but you brought it up. I'm like, well, we have to address the assist. Like, hey, let's help out.
The assist,
A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Everyone started. It was great because it wasn't younger people laughing at it like hee hee hee. Everyone just couldn't control themselves because we were loving the movie and the storyline, but everyone just started like giggling. It was hilarious, but it was really good. I've watched it so many times over because I feel like when I first watch a movie, sometimes I miss big parts. For example, when they go past all the tapestry and it sort of shows everything happening.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I was going to bring it up, but I'm so glad you were like, I picked up on this as well. Yeah. The plot of the film is right there. You will, if you want to have the film ends, just watch that tapestry. Like,
exactly. I love watching, I don't know his name, the Swedish guy, and Florence Pugh. What's her name in that movie?
Oh, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but Florence Pugh is genius, and the Swedish friend who's just a little off the whole time. Like, he's really. I mean, the whole cast is great. Like, it's so well cast. It is visually stunning. Like the fact. I don't really buy into the Oscars so much anymore. I used to be big on the Oscars when I was younger, but the fact that this film didn't get nominated for costumes is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, everything is handmade and put together so wonderfully. Opening 10 minutes, maybe again some of the scariest stuff I've seen in my life. Like,
definitely.
And they did the same thing. Like, they do he's got that trademark of cutting between scenes for grief. So like this is just like her crying. Like, oh, so tough. None of the guys are nice. Like, her boyfriend's a jerk. Like, her boyfriend's friends are bigger jerks.
He deserved being burnt in that bear.
Yeah. Absolutely. I 100% agree. It has one of the most beautifully unpleasant images of all time, which is I think they call it the reverse butterfly, where the guy's organs are pulled through his back.
That's what I was going to talk about. That's what I missed as well in the first time. Like, the first time I watched it was I was like, oh, he's just like hanging there dead. But there was flowers and everything in him. It was, that's crazy to me. Just the visuals behind it, like, sorry to like sidetrack again, but
no, go.
Something I loved was rewatching it so that I could see. I'll call him Swedish guy for now. The Swedish
I'll look his name up.
Yeah, the Swedish guys, his behaviors at the beginning of the movie and throughout to Florence Pugh, because it was evident that she was going to be Pele. That's the one.
And she's Danny. I couldn't tell you any of their names. I just like the guy from The Good Place, Florence Pugh. Like, Chidi from The Good Place.
Yeah.
Pele. Yeah.
when Pele was just like around and like, drawing her the picture and always so nice to her, never made a bad comment like the rest of the boys did. When she sort of came to become the May Queen, was it the May Queen?
Yeah, I think it's the May Queen.
It was so not evident, but when you look at the old people that die, they're literally identical to Pele and Danny. They're just older versions of them.
Oh, I gotta watch this again. I
It's
didn't pick up
given me
on that.
goosebumps. They're literally identical. It's like foreshadowing that they're gonna be.
I didn't pick up on that, and like I adore this. Like this film is also in my top 5. I've got to go back and watch it now. Speaking of the old people, like that death scene, I remember, and I'd seen Hereditary, and so I know that Ari Aster likes to sit the camera on uncomfortable things, but I'm like, well, they're not going to show it. Oh, they show it. Like you see a face peel off, and then someone doesn't die straight away, and they show like close-ups of like the wounds and stuff. It's not a particularly violent film. It's not gory and gross. Like it's a real slow burn. They take a lot of time to tell their story and build anticipation. It doesn't feel like 3 hours. Like to me, I'm just like, this just works from start to finish. But when it does get full on, like it's pretty full on. Like it's not like Saw or Hostel. Like it's not like people, cutting stomachs out and stuff like that. But it is pretty confronting. And if you're not used to it, it can be quite shocking. But it's one of the most beautiful looking films I've seen of all time. Like it's just so gorgeous to watch. I'm so happy it's on your top 5. I knew, like you mentioned, I said like previously, I knew it'd be on your list in the past, but I'm just really glad that it showed up on the list.
I have to say though, my favorite scene, and just because I love a good laugh, I love the movie, I love a good shocking movie where so much is happening, but because I love a good laugh, I love when the guy from We're the Millers, I don't know his name, but
Will Poulter,
he pees on like the log.
Oh, and the guy loses his mind. He gets so angry. Yeah.
I thought that was so funny. I thought that was so good. But yeah, love that movie. I'll always love that movie.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Well, my thing, and we haven't really talked about this. I've talked about the show, but you and I've talked about. My thing is cults. Like if you make a movie about a cult, I'm there. Like I'm fascinated by cults. I love the idea of just like, why would these people live alone and have these weird traditions? And I guess that's kind of religion to extent, and that's not me being offensive to religion. Like I would never line up for it, but if you're religious, like I understand the appeal. But like cults to me are just smaller religions basically. But I'm just fascinated by like we're a community and we do weird things and we're violent and we do weird sex things and also leave us alone and no one discover us. Like so anything about like the Wicker Man like is one of my all-time favorites like from the 70s. Such a wonderful film about cults. So The Sacrament is quite good. Kill List, which I guess I've kind of spoiled because that's not really what the film's marketed as, but it's cult stuff in it. But Midsommar, I think, has taken the crown as the greatest film about cults of all time. Like Wicker Man is still great, but Midsommar is just I just love anything to do with cults. I just think it's very, very fascinating. So I'm thrilled it's still on your list because I was hoping we could talk about Midsommar tonight. So we have been talking for almost as long as Midsommar, by the way. Like, we could have watched it at this stage. People are like, well, you were doing acrobatics, like turning lights on and stuff. Like, why'd you talk about all that?
It was necessary.
You guys talked about like so much non-film stuff for the longest time. I am having a great time, so I don't care.
Me too.
What's okay? What's number 3? I don't know why I'm laughing.
Get Out.
Okay.
Get Out.
No. Yes. Oh my god, I love your list. I love your 5 movie list. I'm going to let you talk, but the thing you were saying about Midsommar before, I had that experience with Get Out. So I went and saw Get Out in cinemas, and I took my wife. And as I said before, she's not a big horror movie fan, but I was like, look, it's not really a horror film. It's more of a thriller. It's by Jordan Peele. Like, he's funny. Like, I think it'd be really fascinating. I showed the trailer, and she was down with it. And she loved it. It's like the only horror film she really likes. But that is a movie that it's such a crowd film. Like, So I think one thing that I really think about is when the old man is running, just running really fast at night.
Yeah.
It's so scary, and then like it just ends, and everyone's like, and then everyone in the audience just started laughing a little bit, like, oh yeah, like that was fun. It was so weird, but like, okay, we're on the same page. Let's get moving. It's such a
Mm.
crowd movie. I have a lot to say about Get Out. I've said a lot about it in the past, but this is your show, so I'm going to let you talk about Get Out first.
I have a fear of people either crawling and running towards me really fast,
Mm-hmm.
or people running towards me really fast, like that guy was with the wide eyes.
Well, you talked
That
about your
really
experience in the
scared me.
parking lot. Like, I'm guessing
Yeah.
that's like part of it. Like,
No, it sort of happened when I was younger, but that's another story for another day. I won't get
I'm going to
sidetracked
add that
again.
to the first date thing as
Yeah.
well. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, so that I do have like a fear of that, but I just found the movie again, it was so surprising and so shocking because it was just nothing like I expected when I found out the girlfriend was in on it too, and he found all the pictures of
Yes.
other guys. I was like,
You
"Oh,
know I can't do
hell
that,
no."
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are the damn keys?
Yeah. I was I was scared. I was like, "This is terrifying,"
Mm.
you know? And I understood what they were trying to do in the movie, but I didn't quite understand it, and it was almost the fact that these people who had had their, like, brains cut in half and switched out or whatever it was they were trying to do was so robotic. They couldn't
Mm.
the actors did such a good job of not showing any emotion. I think that's
The
what it was.
One of the scariest moments in that film is when the maid starts crying, like
Yeah.
and
Oh.
because she's like, "I'm fine," and you're like, "Okay, like give her all the awards and also please take her off this planet because I'm just worried she's gonna destroy us all."
Yeah.
Horrifying, horrifying.
It
Uh,
was horrifying. Or the guy
it's
when they flash
yeah,
the camera at him
yeah,
and
yeah,
he just
yeah.
starts bleeding through his nose. I was like, "Oh my god."
Like it's also a very funny movie. Like sometimes it's unintentional. Well, I don't think it's unintentionally funny. I think Jordan Peele knows what he's doing, but
Mm.
it's uncomfortably funny, and it kind of like one thing I've talked about this movie a lot is it's a mess like it's a message film. Like it's definitely a commentary on racism and the treatment of African
Mhm.
American people in America, but it's never preachy. Like
Yeah.
instead of like being like this is how like and like look, if they wanted to be preachy, like I think you're entitled to that. Like if you part of a race who's been downtrodden and objectified and treated horribly for centuries, you're allowed to be preachy. But
Mhm.
instead, what he did was like, I'm just gonna make you guys uncomfortable. I'm gonna make a horror film. I'm gonna make it uncomfortable, and you're gonna giggle because you're nervous because deep inside you're like, oh, I've seen this before,
Mhm.
and like I've seen this kind of weird treatment. Um, it's very close to a perfect film for me. Like the casting is incredible.
Mhm.
Um, the switch is so sudden, like because the film is unnerving, right?
Mhm.
Like for the longest time, it's like I don't know what's going on. It's very weird. I'm kind of creeped out. I'm really like, oh, that guy kind of lost his mind and like he the flash and stuff, and then like it's a horror movie. Like
Mhm.
we're taking brains out. We're like the brother is like a monster. Like Caleb Landry Jones, who plays the brother, that is in lots of horror films, and like he's just the creepiest dude ever. Uh,
Yeah.
he's also in The Last Exorcist. I don't know if you ever saw that one, but he's pretty creepy in
Mm.
that.
Mm.
Um, yeah, like it just switches gears. Um, what was I going to say about it? Look, Childish Gambino track in the opening credits. I'm always down with that.
Mm. Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
oh, so I think I've talked about this on the show before, but I may not have. Um, without getting too dark or going off track too much. I've talked about mental health a little bit on the show before. I'm someone who's dealt with my own mental health battles.
Mm.
We don't need to go into too much detail there. The sunken place to me is such a, and I know it's not meant to be this, but it also is such a wonderful parable and such a perfect visualization of mental health and depression for me.
Mm.
I was talking to my wife one day, and I was like, I was having a moment, like it was a few years ago, and I was like, I just feel I'm in the sunken place, and she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, okay, So this is what I'm dealing with right now. Do you remember Do you remember Get Out? Do you remember the song? I was going through it, and she was like, "Oh my god!" She's like, "I get it," and not that she didn't understand.
Mm.
Like we've been together a long time, but like I just didn't have a visual mean. Remember how at the start of the show, 4.5 hours ago, I was saying how like film is communication for me.
Mm.
Using that as a visual representation, I was like, "Oh, you've explained in a way that I've never been able to understand before, and now I really get it."
Yep.
So even though I don't think it was deliberate to be a parable for mental health, I was like, "This is such a wonderful tool." Like it's so
Yeah.
well crafted. Um, anyway, that's about as dark and real I want to get on the show. We're having a fun show, but I think like it's really important. Like
Yeah.
Get Out did not need to be anything other than like a wacky horror film with some weird kills, and instead it works on so many levels. It's brilliantly written. It's funny. It's dark. Um, just like Midsommar, a lot of the plot is actually given away throughout the film. You just need to be paying attention for it.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
wonderful. And like Bradley Whitford as the dad, like he's just, I would have voted for Obama for a third term, like
Yeah.
just stuff like that. And then like his buddy, like the TSA guy, like is just so funny as well. It,
Yeah. Yeah. You're completely right in saying it is sort of the build up and then the immediate switch. And the sunken place, that really does, it visualizes sort of, I guess for him, I wouldn't know whether it would be mental health, but definitely what's going on in his mind because
mm,
she is inside of his mind. But
mm,
it definitely makes you feel a certain way, especially when he's sinking. And then, there's the TV scene where he's like, I think it's a transition where he's like falling into the TV or something
mm.
like that. I was like, oh, that it's not eerie, but it is eerie,
Oh yeah.
you know? But yeah, I definitely understand what you mean. But yeah, Get Out was it was fun for me to watch. Not in like a
It
haha
is.
way.
It
It's
is fun.
fun.
Like it's fun. Like I've watched it I think every year for the last couple of years, and like
Mhm.
almost I'd be like, just want to check that this is a brilliant film. Yep, no, I was right. Cool, okay, good.
Yeah.
Like I was watching it, like I watched it last year in October. I did like a huge like Halloween watch over October, and the whole time still I'm like, yeah, like this film is just a masterclass. Like there's nothing wrong with this film. I have no criticisms of it. Like,
Mm.
well, I was right. See you in a year. Get Out. We'll catch up again, and you can remind me how brilliant you are.
Yep.
Um, excellent. Man, like I feel like the only place your list can go is down because all you're delivering is brilliant movies. But I have faith. What is number two?
Parasite.
Yes, I forgot that you like Parasite. I
I
gave you
love.
a list, as I mentioned a little while ago, and I chucked a bunch of Asian cinema on there, so particular to
Okay.
Korean films. But like once I knew you liked Parasite, I was like, all right, like I'm gonna because you were like it's kind of scary. I'm like, oh, get ready for I Saw the Devil, which is brilliant, but that's
Mm.
messed up and weird. Um, Parasite. Talk about Parasite.
Parasite.
I
You and
own
I.
every movie on your list, just about. Like I've got Get Out, I've got Parasite, I've got Midsommar. I don't have all of your number five, but I've got
Yeah.
most of them. There's a few on there, so
I think it is. You and I have bonded very much over the fact that I don't care what sort of language the movie is in, I will have the subtitles on every single movie, and people that don't have subtitles on, to me, are weird because how can you watch something and catch every single piece of dialogue and everything that they're saying? I
hmm
have to have the subtitles on. I know I say you're weird. I don't mean, you're weird, but I can't understand it because whenever I watch it, with a friend or with a family member and there's no subtitle on any movie, I'm missing something. I can't
mm,
fully pay attention. So there's that. I was shown this movie as well um, because it isn't something that I would usually go, oh yeah, I'll watch that. I thought it was brilliant. I just remember sitting there and being so shocked and so surprised and just rooting for this, Korean family that had got their whole family, into this, this rich family sort of life. And
They are the parasite.
exactly. And, that's what I loved about it. But again, it's that full build up and it's like, oh wow, this is such like an interesting story. This less fortunate family have now been very clever and worked their way into this, very rich family's life using all these, interesting techniques and everything like that. Like it's very interesting. 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 Once they're given the rock.
It's been a
from
long
the
day.
tutor.
I know what time you got up this morning. It's been a long day. Like you're doing pretty well.
So yeah, it's the symbol of good luck that they were given, and all of this luck comes to them. But then it sort of builds up and it goes all the way up, and then it just drops.
That last, I haven't seen it since it came out on Blu-ray. I've watched it once, and I adored it. I just haven't got back to it.
Yeah.
And like, because it goes a certain direction for the longest time, and then there's the behind the fridge stuff, where you're like, or behind the kitchen wall, like the underground stuff. You're like, oh,
That's
what's going on here? And then like the film ends in such a way that I was like, what? What do you mean it ended this way?
I know.
I don't want to call you out, Samantha, but with the exception of Get Out, one thing I've noticed is every film on your list has some weird sex stuff in it. Like, I do mean, like Midsommar, Don't Breathe, and now Parasite. Like,
I didn't think of it like that. I did not think of it like that, but it's not intentional. I'm going to back myself and say it's absolutely not intentional.
I think my 80s list had a lot of weird sex stuff in it. Like,
I feel like a lot of movies have weird sex stuff in them.
The best ones do. I couldn't even say it with a straight face. No. Well, actually, my top 5 do. Like Clerks, Back to the Future, Kill Bill. Like, yeah, they've all got some weird, not Hot Fuzz, and Midsommar. So yeah. Okay, I was just like, I have to, and like, if number 1, you're like, I've got to change my number 1 quickly because otherwise I'm going to say it again. But yeah, like, because I would just remember, isn't there like there's a couple of weird things in it? Because first of all, don't they hide like the daughter's underpants in the car or something? Like that's a weird thing. And then there's also like, I'm pretty sure like the mum and dad are just like going at it while the kids are sleeping on the floor, if I remember correctly. And
everyone's hid under the table and they're doing the thing
right. Yes,
on the
right,
couch. But then their son is in the garden in a tent. I was like, this is weird. Every time I watch it, I'm like, the only way to make light of that situation when I watched it for the second time in front of all my friends who aren't really big into movies, and they were sort of looking at me like, what have you recommended?
She's done. Okay, she's done it again. She brought a weird one.
It was the way that the subtitles translated it that I just said it like out loud. She said something really weird during the sex scene. So I said it out loud and everyone just started laughing. So that sort of cleared the air. We moved on from that and they liked the rest of the movie. But no, I think that movie is brilliant,
It's very clever. Like just the way like they slowly all infiltrate, the way they kind of
just the man in the basement, man. Like that to me, when she gave him like the little baby bottle, I was like, what is going on here? The baby bottle. Oh, this is my husband. I was like, pardon me? You're what?
Oh, it's yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen it. I've only seen it once, so I only remember certain bits of it, but I remember the weird stuff. But that ending, I'm pretty sure the ending is the poster art. Like that scene where they're in the garden right before what happens. Oh, and I won't spoil it. Like Parasite is an older film, it's been out for a couple of years now, but I won't spoil it because it's just the perfect like exclamation point on a bizarre, wonderful movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen? You said, well, actually, I put this on your list as well. Have you seen Old Boy?
No.
Okay, Old Boy. So that's a Korean film I've recommended for you as well, and that's like it's violent. Like it's very like it's directed by what's his name? Chan Wook Park Chan. I can't remember his name. Park Chan Wook. And he does a lot. He's done like heaps of movies. He's done all sorts of weird films. This is probably his weirdest one, and it's about a guy who gets locked up in a room for 20 years. He doesn't know why, and then one day he's released, and he's trying to like find his family, find out where he is, and figure it all out. and like it's super violent. Like the fight scenes in Oldboy inspired a lot of those kind of more grounded superhero films and shows. So like Daredevil, like everyone's like, oh, the fights in Daredevil came from Oldboy, like that sort of stuff. So it's very violent. It's very fast paced. Being a film that I'm bringing up in this because there's a lot of weird sex stuff in it as well. But like, it's such a like, it's so weird and so messed up. And like knowing the like Parasite, knowing the like Midsummer, I think you'll really dig it. But just so you know, the ending is going to leave you questioning humanity for a while.
Okay, I'll have to watch that.
It's great. I think they just released it on Blu-ray in Australia. I think we finally got it. I got mine from the UK while I was over there. But it's a great film. Really, really. Actually, I might have it. You know what? I think I've got on DVD as well. Maybe I'll send it to you. I'll just give you my DVD. You can have that. There we go.
Thank you.
Make it. We'll talk. We'll talk off air. But like, if you want like physical media, I've got like just a collection of stuff. I'm just sitting there gathering dust. I'll just send you a bunch of movies.
That's so cool. Nice. I'm awkward, but nice. Thank you.
It's going to be like DVDs. It's going to be a box of DVDs and like just a box of orange lollies, and that'll be it.
Yes, the orange lollies, the Pepsi Max, the Cheds.
I mean, yes.
And I'll just send you back a bunch of instant coffee.
It seems like a really unfair trade. I'm like, here's some wonderful things. Here's something you hate. I'm like, yeah, well, here's Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, director's cut. Like, deal with it. Sign posters. And there's the girl from the hot tub.
Oh God.
We've been doing this for 2.5 hours.
My God.
So now people are like, this. I don't know what he was thinking. This is not the best episode. Like, he's clearly having a good time, but think of your audience. We're at number 1. I have no idea what it's going to be. You may have mentioned it to me before, but I've not. Like, it's such it's an eclectic list, but it's also it very much makes sense to me. Like, it all kind of ties in. Like, I'm like, oh, well, if you like that, you would like that. What is number 1, Samantha?
Step Brothers.
I did know this. Okay, so I actually did know pretty much everything on your list.
Yeah.
The Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah. Boats and hose.
Okay, let's talk Step Brothers. Tell me all about it. I mean, I've seen it, so I know the plot, but tell me why you dig it.
I could watch that movie all day, every day for the rest of my life. It is my all-time favorite movie. Nothing will ever top it. I don't care how cool and interesting and, all these different surprises that I get, all these good feelings I get from all of these other movies. Step Brothers will always be number 1. It just makes me laugh every time. I can't describe it. It's just Will Ferrell and the other guy whose name I forgot,
John C. Reilly. Why are you sweaty? I was watching Cops. I put my nuts in your drum kit.
There's just so many good quotes. It's such a funny concept. It's hilarious. I just love when the whole thing comes full circle as well. Like, it's actually got story behind it. It feels great to watch. I love when they're on the boat, the yacht. It's just boats and hoes.
It's so funny. I'm a huge Adam Scott fan. Like, John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, obviously genius, but the other brother, like the jerk one, who they're like doing the singing in the car, the singing "Sweet Child of Mine," and he like just loses his wife because she can't hold a note. I love Adam Scott, and seeing him play such a nasty person was so entertaining. But then his wife, played by Catherine Hahn, who's also brilliant. Richard Jenkins as the dad. It's really well cast. The quotes are so good. Like, can we put our beds together and make bunk beds?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
So many activities. And I sent you a Step Brothers quote. We were talking about something, and you said something that I agree with. I'm like, did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
Which I was like, she's going to love this quote. And then I heard nothing for like 3 days. And I was like, oh, I guess we didn't become best friends.
Told you, 3 to 5 business days.
Yeah, I didn't know the rule at that time. Like, now that I understand how shipping and handling goes. Like, with
oh dear. My brain's just like a bad shipping company.
And it's been a moment. Like, I've seen it a few times. It's been a moment. isn't there a whole like scene where they go and do like a dual job interview together? Like they,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of them farts really loud. And wait, what's his name? Seth.
Seth
Is it
Rogen.
Seth Rogen? Yeah. And he's like, "Did you just fart?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he's like, he says something like, "I didn't mean for it to be that loud." And then he farts again, and then Seth Rogen just looks at them and he goes, "Now that I think of it, tuxedos are actually kind of effed up." Because they're both just sat there wearing tuxedos. But I love when they're coming home from, I think they're coming home from the job interviews, and they go past that school.
Yeah.
And there's like the kid bullies that make them lick the poo. Or that when the house has a home open and they put really bad makeup on Will Ferrell and they wrap him in a shower curtain so that the house won't sell. And the older brother, is it Daryl? Is that what they name him in the movie?
I think so.
Can't
That sounds
remember.
about right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
Comes into the house to show this couple around. Oh, my memory. What are their names in the movie?
Oh, you're okay. I'll look it up while you're talking. Because I don't know. It's been a moment since I've seen it. I'm like, it's just Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. The names are Brennan and Dale.
Brennan and Dale.
And
so
it's Derek. Derek's the older brother. 'Cause he's like, my
Derek.
name is Derek. Like he just like second instance of me singing on the show ever, both in this episode.
Lovely. Should be on The Voice.
How dare you? Oh, Andrea Savage is in it. I forgot she was in it. She's wonderful, British comedian. She was in Game Night as well, which I recommended to you.
Yes.
Which you liked 95% of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to the cast. Mary Steenburgen as well as the mum.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
She's good. Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about the shower curtain.
Yeah, Dale has Brennan wrapped in the shower curtain. I think it's that way. With really poor makeup, like making him look dead and white and green and blue. And they've got him on the floor. And he's screaming and he goes, "He just died like a week ago." And this couple just run out of the house. But yeah. Why are you so sweaty? I'm sponging cops. Well, I know that cops doesn't start till 4.
Did you take my drum kit? No?
No. Because it really seems like someone touched my drum kit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God, I haven't seen it so long, and like you're literally like, this is actually a flick I don't own, and you're making me want to go back and watch it right now. Oh, I forgot about the scene where he's dressed as a Nazi on the front lawn.
The blind Nazi?
Yeah.
The dog.
Oh, I don't think anyone has talked about Step Brothers or like. So what I like to do is talk about films that haven't been mentioned before. Like obviously you're gonna get repeat offenders. I don't think anyone's ever mentioned most of the films you talk. Like Get Out and Midsommar have come up, but I think everything else is a first time. And Hereditary. Everything else I think is a first time chat. Like I don't think anyone's talked about any of these other films you brought up. Your top 10, top 5 films, like 8 of them or 7 of them are brand new, which is awesome. And I've seen pretty much all of them, which was nice. So I could talk about them. That is a hell of a list, Samantha. I'm digging that.
Thank you.
Very strong list. My face is in pain from laughing. I don't know whether the audience laughed, but geez, I have just like my cheeks hurt. I've got like tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Very
alrighty.
fun.
Good list. So the last part of the show, we're almost done. Like, isn't that? I mean, I say almost. It's been 2.5 hours, but like, it hasn't felt like 2.5 hours for me. I've just been digging it.
Yeah, me too.
But the last part of the show is the rapid fire questions. So what we have is a set list of questions I ask everyone on their first time. I say they're rapid fire, but just take as long as you want. But I just to round out the show. So Samantha McHardy, the final part of the episode. First of all, what was the last thing you watched? Last movie you watched? The Help?
Help.
I've never seen The Help.
Yeah.
Common theme. It's a poop film. Like we've talked about a lot of pooping today, and it's a poop film as well.
Yeah. That was the last movie. The last TV show was The In-Betweeners.
Nice. Which episode?
What was I watching? I just watched the fashion show. Yeah. With the ball hanging out. But yeah, that's the last one I watched. I don't think I've got any further than that. Yeah.
I quote that show quite a bit in this house. In-Betweeners is a regular watch for my wife and I.
Yep.
And the go-to, my biggest quote I go to is, I shall invite you to the party. I am a man.
I'm a man who was bought a house in the local area, to which I am inviting a few of my guests, a few of the local guests.
She'll invite you to
Hence the crisps.
That
and
that
some
one?
mints for those who are drink driving.
The mints. Oh. So that's one that I quote a lot, and I also Friends, like obviously there's a very popular one. You pedo. That's another. She's 13. Yeah. Oh, sorry. And the other one we do is, why would you say that? Funny. Oh, Simon, that stinks. Why would you do that? Funny.
Yeah.
Love the In-Between.
I like bus wankers.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. We talked about In-Betweeners movie before because you saw it on my shelf. I think one is wonderful. Like it was on TV recently, like in the last 6 months, and I don't watch free to air either, like at all really. I just really don't watch free to air TV. And we were watching something, we turned off and the free to air came on, and In-Betweeners was on. I was like, "Do you want to?" And she was like, "Yeah, let's watch In-Betweeners," and just wonderful, like so fun.
Yeah.
Really heartfelt, like gross out humor, but like really beautifully told, and like this whole like love stories I really dug. How they managed to find an actress who looks exactly like Neil.
Yes,
like that's Jessica Knappett, who I adore. I think she's so funny. And she's like done some really good stand-up stuff and some really good writing, but like just so good. And then the second one has a moment in it that made me laugh so hard in theaters that I almost threw up. And that's when I think it's Will. It's one of them gets smacked in the face with a piece of poo. Coming out of the like. When it happened, I could see the bill. I'm like, no, they're not going to do it. I'm starting to laugh, and look, I just got into like a coughing fit, and like people in the theater were like turning around. They're like, "What's wrong with this guy?" I'm like, "You're telling me that's not the funniest thing you've seen on screen?" Like,
yeah. I love when Will goes, "All right, mate. I mean, man." I love that.
And has some genuinely heartbreaking moments, like when Jay has to like gets dumped by the girl, like so heartbreaking.
I know, for the second time. Will you marry me?
Yeah.
No.
And like when the dads are like, all right, ooh, just the worst dad in the history of television, maybe the world. All right, that was the first question. I told you it's not that rapid.
Yeah.
All right, Samantha, what is the movie that's been sitting on your watch list forever? What's that one film where I was like, you need to watch it, and you're like, yeah, I'll get to it, and you keep putting it off?
All right, let me have a look because I know that it's going to be on my Netflix.
I've started knocking them off. When I first started the show, for me, it was Citizen Kane. I finally watched it, so the show inspired me to, I don't know, watch more movies. As if I needed the push.
Oh, they're all gone. Do they delete after a while? That's weird.
So
someone's
quaint
been using
and
my
British of you.
Netflix.
Oh, did they all delete after a while? I'm ribbing you way harder than I would at work. I'm just like...
Someone's been using my Netflix. I'm not kidding.
Oh, no. There will be a discussion later after this show. There'll be a family meeting. Oi!
Who's hacked the Netflix? I want to know.
Oh, I don't like that voice. Never use that one again. That was upsetting.
Someone's been watching the Imperfects on my Netflix. Sorry, I'm getting very sidetracked. Let me think of a movie that someone... It's always movies that someone has recommended to me.
You haven't seen that? Yeah.
Over and over and over again. What is it? You know... Oh my god. The Lion King.
What?
I know.
Like,
Don't.
not judging, but like that's actually a brilliant answer. Like that is exactly what this question is. Like that is something that everyone should have seen. Like that is, I think, the first film I saw in theaters.
Or Star Wars.
That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like because like not only were you not around for the first trilogy, you kind of weren't around really for the second trilogy. Like you were pretty young when that came out. So like that makes sense to me. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy. I'm pretty clear about the show. I like the Star Wars films, but I don't have that same love for the most. But I don't get like if I'm like, oh no, Jar Jar Binks, so like, oh no, why are they green now? Like that doesn't bother me at all. Like I enjoy them for what they are. But they're fun. Like like Empire Strikes Back, like is definitely worth watching. There's some good stuff in there. But Lion King, I think, is definitely more shocking. I think people listening to this will be like, whoa, she doesn't say Lion King. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm a little bit. I'm just like, wow, that is a really good answer. That may be the best answer we've had. That's a pretty good one.
Lion King, definitely.
Because it's a popular one as well. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Head in the game. I think I know the answer to this next question, but are you a movie crier?
Yeah, it depends on what it is, but yes.
Oh yeah, I don't mean like as soon as the credits roll, you're like, oh, like.
No specific topics.
Yeah, we've talked about this off mic.
Definitely. I won't really mention what it is, but there's specific topics in movies that sort of relate back to my own life that really upset me. Because they just hit home.
We've talked about it, and like, yeah, we don't need to go into detail here, but like I told you some things that make me cry, and like it was one of those things where it took until this year to be like, oh, and that's why, like that makes sense. But I'm not a crier in real life. Like I very rarely cry in real life. I think like I cried when my daughter was born. And then the last time I can remember crying in real life would have been in my early teens, maybe my mid-teens. Like I didn't cry. I haven't cried at funerals. Like people are like, what kind of monster? Like this is such a sidetrack. But when I do eulogies at funerals, I tell jokes. I like do stand up. Like I'm like not stand up, not so much, but I will just tell jokes. I'm like, I don't know, like this is weird. Let's just like yes, it's sad, and I'm not trying to take it away, but like the world hasn't changed that much. Like let's remember them for who they were. Like let's have some fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I very rarely cry. But in a movie, like the other night, I was like, oh, I think I'm ready for a cry. I need to schedule a cry in, and I was like, all right, the Big Six coming out this week, I think, because that one will make me cry.
Yep.
I thought you were a movie crier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I think you might have answered this question earlier already based on your review of The Gentleman, not the movie The Gentleman, the actual actor. Is there an actor or an actress that you'll follow anywhere? Like it doesn't matter what the film is. If they're on it, you're like, yes, I am there. That is my actor. That's my actress.
Oh. Steve Carell.
Ooh, good one. Great one. I recommended a Steve Carell film to you on your list as well. I don't know if you've seen it, but Little Miss Sunshine is brilliant.
Okay, I have to watch that.
He's great in it. It's a very different role for him, and it's also a movie that makes me cry a lot because of reasons I've told you off mic.
Yeah.
It's a very, it's wonderful. Toni Collette from Hereditary. Hereditary's Toni Collette is in it. Yeah, it's great. Like the flick is basically a very dysfunctional family decide to cross country because their youngest daughter wants to enter something called the Little Miss Sunshine pageant, and like her grandfather's been training her to like get ready for it, like this like teen beauty pageant thing, and like everything goes wrong, and like the dad is it's like Hereditary if Hereditary was a comedy. Like the dad is a jerk, like the mum like is just trying to keep everything together. Steve Carell plays like this suicidal man, like he tried to kill himself because he fell in love with one of his students and the student didn't love him back. These are not spoilers. I'm just setting up the movie. It's Paul Dano is in it. Paul Dano's wonderful. It's a great flick. And Steve Carell is it's lovely seeing him not be Michael Scott. Like I'll watch Michael Scott forever, but seeing him like really kind of go beyond that. Steve Carell's also great in Crazy Stupid Love, if you've never seen that one.
I have seen that.
That one makes me cry as well. That ending, Jesus Christ. And he's great in everything. That's a really good answer. And I don't think anyone's brought up Steve Carell yet either. So like we're 40 plus episodes in, you'd think someone would have mentioned him by now. especially if we're all Office fans. All right, I don't like to be negative, but some people throw out the hate word. So let's dig into it. What is the worst movie you ever saw?
Hmm.
I was on a date once, and I fell
No.
asleep.
There definitely is one. I just feel like, again, can't think of one off the top of my head.
Really? You're like, I haven't seen it, but it's Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Human Centipede. I got 20 minutes in.
I just feel like I've definitely walked away from a movie. Like, I am very vocal about my opinion
What?
when it comes to movies. Like, in my personal life, if I don't like something, I will literally, not in a rude way, and I need to reiterate that, like, I am still a lady, but I'll literally get up and be like, that was the worst effing thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
I mean, sure.
So,
I'm still a lady, but I think that life is too short for us to like keep ourselves like covered and be like, oh, like I don't want to say what I really think. Like I think if you
yeah.
don't like I genuinely don't dislike many things when it comes to movies. I really do try to find like just like people, I try to say the best in everything. So even if like I've talked about this in the show, but like if a film can't be great, which few
Mhm.
films can, like I'm very positive about it. But like true greatness is very hard. So if you can't be great, be interesting. If you can't be interesting, show me something I've never seen before. If you can't
Mhm.
do that, just be the weirdest, most messed up thing I've ever seen.
Mm.
Just don't be boring. Like that is the
Yeah.
worst thing a film can be. But most people are, a little bit more critical than I am.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer. If you don't know the answer, that's fine. We can just skip it. Like you don't have to answer them. It's not like you won't be invited back to the show.
I just oh my god, wait, I know what it is.
Oh, that's
I've
awesome.
just I've looked at stuff. Oh, here's another one that I've never seen. I've seen half of it, not even Shrek. I've never seen Shrek.
Well, to be fair, I think it came out the year you were born. So
Mm.
I actually just rewatched that for the first time in over 10 years the other day to show my daughter because
Yeah.
she'd never seen it. I'm trying to show her like I've been showing a lot of Disney films, but I was like, I just want to show her animation, see what she gets into and what she likes. Um, and she dug most of it. She kind of wandered off. Like she didn't like she loved Ratatouille. That was her
Mhm.
jam, but she didn't really love Shrek. But she enjoyed it fine. Um, it's worth checking out. Like it's I think there's some fun stuff in it. Like it definitely holds up. I was entertained and I almost cried. So, like I was like, oh my
Mm.
god, Shrek's making me cry. Um, but yeah. So you found your worst film, the worst movie you've ever seen?
I have to say, you know what? I've actually looked at my watch it again list on Netflix. There are so many movies that I would substitute now in my top 5.
All
I
right, so
hate myself for that.
the next 4 of her top 4, just go through and add 5 more to each of your number 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. Based on my watch it again, it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen, but something that really disappointed me because I loved the YouTube videos was Between Two Ferns.
Interesting. Interesting.
It was so underwhelming.
I think
Like,
the best part of the Between Two Ferns film is the bloopers.
yeah.
Like, because I watched it and I didn't really watch a lot of Between Two Ferns. I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen some clips
Mm.
and stuff. Like the Steve Carell one in particular is quite good. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is a tough concept to make a movie about. And the movie really works best when they're doing the show, which is just Between Two Ferns. Like when they're not doing that, it's kind of look, it's ambitious. I'll give them that.
Mhm.
Like, hey, we're gonna take a concept that really doesn't lend to a movie and try and build a 3-act structure around it. But yeah, when they're doing the interviews and the bloopers are hilarious. But I get it. Look, I don't think I wouldn't say it's the worst film I've ever seen. I don't remember what I said the worst film was that I ever saw. But
Mm,
yeah, I don't think it's a bad film. And that I'm not take like if you think it's a bad film, that's great. Like that's your answer.
mm.
But I get it. Like I see what you mean. Like it's a tough one to make a full feature out of.
Like, I
There
just
we go.
found it so disappointing. But I guess if it's not, I think in terms of worst, it wasn't worst. It was more so the most disappointing movie, and that's what I find the worst. Whereas in
Mm.
terms of worst, it definitely has to be most things. I'm sorry, Netflix, but that are Netflix like home movies sort of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Like The
hear.
Kissing Booth or something like that. I
Oh,
hated those movies.
so first of all, I love Joey King, who is the lead in Kissing Booth. She like outside the
She's beautiful. Yeah.
she you just keep making it all about looks. I just think she's a great actress and think she's
No,
very
I mean
funny.
like inside and out, obviously.
I meant like as a person, she's a beautiful person. I've seen her in a couple of things. I think she's great.
Mhm.
I think she's very, very funny.
Mm.
But I came home and my wife was watching The Kissing Booth because she wanted to watch something trashy. Like she was like, "I'm gonna watch the Netflix original Kissing Booth," and I was like, "Oh, do you mind if I just make fun of it the whole time?" Because that's what I'll do. Like we have my wife and I. Like she knows now that like if she's not really paying attention, like one thing I'll do is I'll come with my own dialogue. I'll do like a narration, stuff like that.
Mm.
And like there's that scene at the bonfire in the Kissing Booth. I don't know if you watched the whole movie Kissing Booth, but like having a
Yeah.
bonfire on the beach, and like there's the younger brother who has the crush on her, but she's into the older brother, I think. And I was
Yeah.
like, and the older brother has like he's edgy, like he's kind of like the dark guy, like he's got like he's burdened with his own angst. And I was like, wouldn't it be messed up if he got into a fight and just threw one of the teenagers into the fire, and then the film took a dark twist, and he had to and like my wife was like, "This is a better film. Like, tell me the story."
Oh
Um,
my goodness. Yeah.
like, um, that's fair. Like the Netflix stuff. Like, I think I liked Hush. I don't know if you've seen Hush, which is a Netflix
I
original.
loved Hush.
Thought that was quite good.
I loved Hush.
I liked The Platform. I think, which was a Netflix original as well.
That was in my top 5 to begin with. Do you remember that? When I first gave you
Yes,
my
yes, yes,
top
yes,
5,
yes.
that was in my top 5. I loved that movie. I would never watch it again. I tried and it horrified me.
Yeah. So there's definitely plenty of stuff that they do well, but I agree with you. Like a lot of the Netflix original stuff, um, just misses the mark a little bit, which is fine. Like
Mm.
they're in the process now, like Netflix, and I know we're at 3 hours, and I know people are like, why are you talking about this stuff? Like, ask the last question, get out of here. Netflix, with the monopoly for so long, they just had everything, and then like all the other streaming services popped up, so they had to start making original content. And to do that, you have to get writers, and you have to figure out what you're producing, and they're just in a
Yeah.
transitional period. I'm sure they'll come with some more good stuff, but the platform, yes, and also Hush. I thought Hush was great. All right,
Yeah.
Samantha. Last question. We're gonna cry. I'll be honest. I said to you this could go for 4 hours. So 3 hours, the length of Midsummer, the director's cut, I'm okay with.
Mhm.
But this might be the longest debut episode of someone. And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, because you keep saying how long it is. Like, Samantha, what is the one movie they should never remake?
Mean Girls, and they did.
Well, they did a sequel, but did they remake it?
Remake it. What do you mean by like remake? Like remake because it's
So
so good they want to
like
make another one?
So they like there's an old version of it. They make it like for a modern audience. So like they did it with Fame. Fame was a popular kind of 70s or 80s film, and they remade it in
Okay.
the 2000s. It's the same movie pretty much. The plot's very much the same thing, but they've recast it, they've modernized it, they've given it some modern twists. I'm trying to think if I've got any examples near me right now. Evil Dead is an example. So we talked about the Evil Dead 2013 one before. That was kind of a sequel, but was really kind of a remake. Um, those Spider-Man films, every couple of years they do a Spider film. They're kind of remakes, so they're not really, but they're just kind of, hey,
Yeah.
it's the same kind of thing. We're going to do it again. Why am I struggling to explain a concept that I've been working on for years, for over a year now? It is a remake. So it was a miniseries in the 90s, and then they remade
Yeah.
it as 2 films. That's a good example. I'll take that one.
It was hilarious. The new It. I found that so funny. I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It might be a film that's really special to you. You're like, you know what, they shouldn't do it. So, for example, for me, I know you haven't seen it, and people are going to be shocked, but it's not The Lion King. I said Back to the Future. I don't think Back to the Future should be remade. Back to the Future is pretty much a perfect film. Like, don't touch it. Lion King they remade actually. Did you see the remake of Lion King? The live
I
action.
did. I did. But I don't say that I've seen The Lion King because it was just like
Yeah.
Wasn't The Lion King. You know, I've
Yeah.
never seen the original one,
Fair enough.
so I don't know.
Like, carry on
Oh my
camping.
goodness. You know what? Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'll take
That
that.
should stay the same. I hate that they've done that Fantastic Beasts stuff now,
Oh,
and
I
they
did
did
like
like a
half an
Harry
hour on
Potter
Fantastic
one.
Beasts a few episodes ago. Like we got, and I don't talk negatively about films very often, but I did. I wouldn't say like by my standards it was scathing, but like well, I wasn't too mean about it. But like I was talking to Josh about the Fantastic Beasts films, and we got sidetracked for a good 25 minutes or so just talking about them. I think Harry Potter is a great answer. I don't think they should remake it either. Like, just let them stand alone.
Yeah.
Samantha McHardy, you have just survived your very first episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time. Like, that was not a
Of
small episode.
course.
Like, it was so much fun having you on. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you want to come back and do it again.
I do. I had a lot of fun, and it's been really, really nice to be able to talk about, again, pardon me, I'm so sorry. That's very on brand for me now.
No,
I
that's what this show is. It's like, yeah, exactly.
yeah, so I had such a fun time talking about movies, as we always do, and it was really nice to be able to talk about them a bit more in depth and be asked questions. And yeah, I loved being here, and I hope I can be here in the future as well. So
The
thank you
most
so much.
courteous guest who did like a little closing speech for the show.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent. So you can't follow Samantha online anywhere. She doesn't use social media. So I can't really plug that. So that's fine. She won't get to hear like the promo I do for the episode and stuff like that. I know which song I'm using for the story. Like and I know the title of the episode already, and it's very on brand for me. Maybe not so much for you, but it's my show. Thank you everyone for listening once again. Hopefully you dug it. Hopefully you'll agree with my intro at the start. Like, she's great. Like, so glad to have her on the show. Like, and I laughed so much, which is always a bonus. This is not a comedy show, so when I get to laugh, it's really, really good. Follow along on Instagram. I was a teenage film snob. _ between every single word. Go ahead and give the show a like. Give it a review. 5 stars on nothing. Just kidding. I'll take anything. 1-star review. Tell me it's awful. I don't care. Just talk about me, please. Follow along on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. And as we say every single week on the show, guys, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.